and recording.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 100 of the Bonehead Podcast. We talk all things Blood Bowl.
There you go. Take it away, Ben.
Still going? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Welcome back. How
Ah!
do you do this? What do you say?
So close. So close.
Okay, I got this.
This
Right.
is staying in, by the way.
Oh, no, okay. Come on, okay, right. Welcome back on episode 100 of the Bonehead Podcast. Is that right? Oh, I can't do this. This is way harder than it looks.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, no. Okay, welcome back.
I'll let you take over then. Can't do this.
Look,
Give up.
you nailed the first bit, and that's the bit I always stumble on. So you've
That's 'cause
actually...
you scripted that bit. Just write everything else.
How bad is it that I stumble over the scripted bit? All right, every time. Anyway, guys, welcome to episode 100. Ben has done a much better introduction than I have. I'm Ben, and once again, I'm joined by Blood Tithe Ben. How you doing, BT?
Hello, I'm doing very well. How are you?
I am very good, and we've also dragged on the Bonehead Podcast foreign correspondent, Miltonio Banderas. Milton, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Ben.
How's things over the sea?
Yeah, we're all good.
On the island of Whites. So this is episode 100. Somehow we have bumbled our way along and we've ended up at actually 100 episodes of this podcast, which is actually insane. So if you're one of
There are
those...
100 topics.
Oh, dude, we've got so many. We've got
Yeah,
so
we've still got
many.
more in the bank, yeah.
And
It's like,
plus,
how have we done 100 episodes?
well, I was going to say, like, there's a hard reset of 2020, but we've only done one
Yeah.
Bonehead Basics for a team, and that means we've got 28 left to go before we hit all the teams. So that's...
Yeah, and then 128 podcasts is over.
Well, maybe.
The day and
maybe, but probably not. Yeah, so episode 100 is going to be a little bit different in that normally we pick a topic to talk about that is very Blood Bowl related. Today we're going to do the standard hobby, news, and then we're going to talk about the podcast and some of our favorite bits. We put a post up on YouTube and in the Discord, and a ton of you have put comments about actually what your favorite bit was, what you think we could do differently, and what more you want to see in Blood Bowl in general. So this is going to be a bit of a relax and chat conversation with us here. So if you're up for some hardcore Blood Bowl info, stick until news and then go about your day. But if you want to hang out with friends and listen to them talk about the podcast and Blood Bowl, then I'm hoping people like Stuart Shelley might really enjoy this episode, because actually that's what it's about. And your comment, Stuart, it was like, I love a chat episode, this is great. I was like, well, good, that's one person sorted.
we're here for one person. We're all good.
Hey, that was our goal when we started out all
It
those
was.
years ago, which is outrageous. So I tell you what, let's do the proper bits first. Let's hit Blood Bowl news. Okay, so it's Blood Bowl news time, and we've actually got some Blood Bowl news, but we'll come to that in just a second. First of all, before we go any further, just want to say a massive thank you to everyone out there who supports the show in any way, whether you like, subscribe, whether you're an awesome Patreon, whether you buy some of our loot from the shop just to help us out. It really does help out, so thank you for that. We've got a few new people joining the Bonehead crew this week. We've got Evan, Mookie, Brian Nutter, Mason Kinsley, Brute Fun himself. We'll come back to Brute Fun in a second. Honoji, Chris Woodward, Dustin Koenig, Average Dad Plays, and Always Hungry Steve have joined the pack. So thank you very much and welcome. Right. I'm going to jump in there right now. Brute Fun has a Patreon. Guys, have you seen Brute Fun's Patreon?
Yeah,
Oh, it's amazing. I joined. I went, like, he actually linked it to me and I joined and I said, yeah, I've joined and we're looking forward to it. And then, like, I got a notification which is like probably like a month later or something from PayPal, being just like, yeah, we still can't quite take your payments. There's something with my PayPal account. And I was like, so I joined again, and then Brute Farm was just like, hey, I saw you joined. I was like, yeah, sorry, I joined kind of twice. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's fantastic.
Brute Farm is one of our favorite STL sculptors. And he's done some awesome teams. Now he's got a Patreon. So if you're after what has to be some of the best digital sculpts for Blood Bowl out there, joining the Patreon is excellent value. I've printed out his Necro team. I still need to get, basically, since I moved all the cameras around, I haven't put the cameras back together in the studio. So I need to do the print pitch for it. So the miniatures are fantastic. But yes, big shout out to Brute Fun first of all. Now, we've got some tournaments to talk through. We're hosting some tournaments. You may have heard about them. We've got South Coast Autumn coming up on Saturday the 22nd and Sunday the 23rd of October. Saturday is 11s and Sunday is 4 games of 7. So 3 on the Saturday, 4 on the Sunday. And, well, Milton has been working pretty tirelessly, I think, behind the scenes to get everything prepped. Milton, you've done an outrageous job so far. How are you feeling about the tournament?
Yeah, it's looking good. Like, I mean, the days are slipping by, aren't they? So it's not long now, and getting some of that prep done so that we're right there, so that we can focus in on making sure all those rosters that are coming in are all good, and making sure that everyone has a good time. We've seen some pics of the venue, haven't we? And it looks sweet. So.
Oh, yeah. Pete put some shots up earlier of some of the different rooms and stuff. It's going to be really cool. It looks like the bars are sorted, which is going to be really useful, because that was a blip that we had at Beachhead, was that the BIC just didn't really bother putting anyone on the bar to serve drinks. But this new place looks pretty awesome. So it's in Southampton. It's at the Aegeus Bowl. Very easy to get to. 37 days, 12 hours, 30 minutes to go. At the point of recording, which is awesome. Milton's printed out all the tournament stuff, and we've started getting some rosters in now as well.
Yeah, I think we've got 10 in for 11s.
That's cool. I think we've sold nearly 60 tickets for the 11s now, and I think late 30s, maybe 40 for the 7s. So it's already looking really good. And you know what people are like, you know what Blood Bowlers are like. There's over a month to go, which means they haven't asked permission yet to go. So there's going to be, I think, a load of people come in. I think it's capped at 80 players because of space, because of that, you know, what the 40k people are like. But Pete's pretty good. So if we go over, then I'm sure he can make room for us. But if you're interested in coming, get your tickets now, because it would be rubbish if it was sold out and you couldn't make it. And Ben, I know we've got our test this weekend. We should be live streaming it, which will be cool.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. It'll be really fun.
Yeah, we've picked up some cool camera equipment, and on Sunday, dude, it's this Sunday, isn't it? Oh, sweet.
Yeah. It's likely that Amazons will be revealed on the same day during the stream.
Whoa.
Potentially.
Well,
or is it normally in the evening?
Yeah, 6 o'clock. We'll be safe. I did think about this. So on Sunday at 11 a.m., because Ben is going to be there at 10. Trips will be there at quarter to 10.
You'll be there at 10. Yeah.
Now, from 11 o'clock, we're going to be doing some coverage of a test tournament that we're running, 3 rounds of 7s at Castle Bonehead. Trips and Ben are going to crash out some games. I'm going to do coverage of it, and we're just going to test out basically the stream layout and everything ready for South Coast Autumn. We're using the same rules package as the Sunday 7s tournament, but really it's going to be a test of tech. So we're going to have some good chat. Hopefully we'll have some great attendance to just chat and watch some Blood Bowl. Yeah, no, Ben, I did think about the timings for this when it came to Amazons, because I was like, if Amazons drop, we're going to need to do a news video. And then, of course, I figured we were doing it in the day. They don't normally drop stuff, Milton, do they, until 6 o'clock on the Sunday?
Well, they may not.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, part of me actually thinks it's not gonna happen. Like, they've dropped this news, which we'll talk about in a second. But like, part of me is just like, nah, it's not gonna happen. It's just gonna wind people up a bit further.
It's definitely gonna be this Sunday for the past 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So who knows? Yeah.
I think it might be the next Sunday.
Do you know how long it's been now? It's been over 2 months since they had the spoiler.
That's crazy.
Do you know what concerns me is whether or not that's going to push back the next release as a result. Like, obviously they've had some sort of issue, right? Haven't they? Like, I mean, we're never going to know. It's probably distribution or like something to do with the spikes or whatever it is. But I don't know whether that in turn is going to push back release for the next team.
When did Norse come out? Did Norse come out this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so Norse is the only release we've had this year at all for Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
When did Death Zone come out? Was that this year?
I think it was January, wasn't it? Wasn't it just after Christmas?
Man, I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
I might be wrong.
Anyway, so we've had one team this year. If the Amazons drop, that's going to be October. We're not going to get one before Christmas, though, are we? Not with this timeline.
No, that was the concern. And like, I think, we were kind of previously we've had like pretty much one per quarter, haven't we? We've had like
it's
4 teams a year.
4, yeah.
Death Zone was April last year.
Was it really?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, when was Dungeon Bowl was
looking
Christmas?
At your videos, that's when I said
Dungeon Bowl was before Christmas because I remember buying it in like November.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
It's Corn then Dungeon Bowl basically at the same time, wasn't it? The end of the year. Wow, yeah. I waited far too long to redo those Sevens videos then.
The Sevens rules video is 16th of April 2021.
Oh man, time is like scary fast.
Yeah.
On the note of scary fast, yes, tournament in 37 days. Come to one day, come to both days, whatever. It's going to be great. We're going to be doing live streaming, which is going to be really good fun as well. So if you can't make it, you can join us, hopefully, and watch a game and see the standings. And hopefully, we got thousands of people who love Blood Bowl, but thousands of people can't make it. So, maybe 100 people can make it, but that means that the hundreds of people who can't then can actually do some Blood Bowl and watch some Blood Bowl, which would be really cool. And we're going to do our best to do the best job of it, but it will be our first time at an event. So it may not be perfect, but we are just going to have a good laugh and have some good Blood Bowl time. And like Ben and I was saying, we got a good warm up on Sunday. 3 games of sevens. You can't go wrong with sevens. It's a brilliant format. So that is our first tournament. And then there is another tournament that we're running a month later, which is Bonehead Bowl 2022, which is in 72 days. Which feels that sounds like ages.
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be. That'll come on quick.
But it's only a month and a bit after. This one's at Entoyment. It is on Saturday, the 26th of November. It's mixed teams, Dungeon Bowl teams, or regular teams playing 3 games of 11s. The full coach list is up. We got 41 tickets sold, which means we've only really got space for another 7. So if you're planning on going to that one at Entoyment, I would definitely book that one up. We've got some good coaches coming. We've got a couple of groups of people traveling down together as well to come for the carnage that is Bonehead Bowl. I love it. Ben, we spoke last time. It was your first kind of Blood Bowl experience, was the mixed team carnage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. It was kind of like a very high bar set early on, I think.
Was that your 3 troll list?
4. Yeah.
4 troll list. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
awesome.
you can do 5 now if Ripper comes out before then, but you won't.
Ooh.
Are you kidding me? Ripper's not coming out anytime. Well, you know what? Actually, Forge World, but judging by some of the Necromunda stuff, they're like, here's a spoiler, it's out next week. It's amazing. With Blood Bowl, it's like, here's a spoiler, bye. And then they just ghost you. So, the Amazon spoiler came out in July, and we were like, cool, right, okay, Amazon's in August, that gives 4 months, so maybe we'll have another one in early Christmas like they did with Ogres a couple of years ago. That'd be awesome. Now, as Milton has joyfully pointed out, there's a very slim chance we'll get them in October, let alone another team at the end of the year. But you never know with Games Workshop, do you?
Don't know.
Yeah, you never know. I've actually got that team right here, funnily enough.
But the Games Workshop Amazon team, damn.
Oh yeah, no, that'll be good. Yeah, no, my 3 trolls, they were just in arm's reach because I can sort out my stuff.
Oh,
they'll make a recurrence at some point.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll have to stream some Bonehead Bowl games. Oh, yeah, we are going to stream from there as well. It's at Entoyment, so we'll definitely be doing that. I'm just really buzzing for that. That's just so good. That's so much fun. So we've got 2 great tournaments coming up, and we've got the test stream coming. So Sunday the 18th, 11 a.m, we'll start the coverage for our mini stream, and then 2 days in October and a day in November. And if that all goes well, we'll just try and have to figure out something for December. but who knows? That is a Games Workshop millennia away, I think, for now. Right. Anyway, events, come play Blood Bowl. That's all I'm going to say. But there was proper news, as you guys have said, and it is another star player. So it is the 3rd star player for Amazons. So I know we talked about this before, but Milton, what was your expectation for a 3rd star player for the Zons?
Well, actually, exactly what we got. So, like, my hope was that we would get a lizard from the old Spike. That is one of my favorite Spike magazines from the 2016 run. There's some great star players in there. And yeah, to see one of them come back is just tick the box for me. And I think the mini's cracking.
Yeah, the mini is awesome. I probably should put that on screen, shouldn't I, for those of you who are joining us on YouTube. Glottal Stop the Croxagore, who is basically a Croxagore with an alligator head, is just I think the miniature is amazing. I mean, BT, what's your take on this?
Oh, it's phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. Like, I love this. I think the armor just suits it so well. This is so Lizardman, isn't it? Like, everything about this, sort of like the really opulent gold and filigree and stuff. Yeah, it's so good.
Someone pointed out that they were like, they've stolen the style of the Croxagores from Warhammer Total War.
Is that what they look like in it?
Yes, I know. I was like, I want more Croxagores that are like that. But yeah, so Glottal Stop has been revealed, and like Milton says, a lot of people were expecting a Croxagore star player.
Oh yeah, they do.
Or a Croxagore for the Amazon team. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen now. But again, we don't know. And the interesting thing about this star is that there's very little in the way of any information about him in the article. With both the other stars, we've seen their special power. With this guy, we haven't at all. We've just got a couple of hints. And I think the only hint that was worth anything was just make sure your own team keeps clear of him when he starts looking peckish, which could be fluff, like complete fluff, or it could mean that he's got animal savagery.
Yeah, what did he have in the old school? Because that's basically just bloodlust now, right?
Yeah, he had wild animal.
Right, okay.
But bloodlust was only for vampires in the last edition because
exactly.
It specifically keyed on thralls. But yeah, my money is on this guy having animal savagery. And he had some great skills in the old edition as well. He had frenzy, like he was just an absolute tank. And I think he had, what was Pile Driver called? In the yeah, he had piling on as well. This guy, it was like,
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it was a really weird one, but he was an absolute machine. And like Milton said, like it was one of the coolest things that they added in Spike 7, I think. And then he went away, along with Ripper, along with Drool and Dribble. And whatever
I think I'd rather have Drool and Dribble than him, to be honest. Like, I think he looks awesome. And obviously, depending on where he sits, you know, could be an affordable piece, a nice affordable strength piece for Lizards and Amazons. But yeah, Dribble and Drool were just like that kind of like real, really filled a gap. Like big hitters is kind of Lizard Man already have that, and Amazons kind of don't need it. But like the really like stretch pieces that Drool and Dribble gave were really good.
Yeah, and they were cheaper as well. This guy, I think we're looking at he was strength 6 in the old edition as well. So
was he?
Yes.
Wow, okay, that's pretty good.
So I think we're Grashnak territory, so somewhere between 250 and 280, which is probably too massive for a for a Lizardman team, probably too massive for a Slan team. But tournament-wise, Amazons, if they don't change the costing of the roster too much, Amazons always used to, in the old edition, fit in, what's that Dark Elf superstar
Oh,
called?
Roxana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you can run a really good Zon team. Like 1,000k for a Zon team, you generally get 11 or 12 players and 4 rerolls in all the positionals you really want. So actually, at 1,100, 1,150, 1,200 TV, you could fit a star player in there for 250 to 300k. So I think if this guy lands, this might be a massive boon to an Amazon team, depending on what the Amazon roster looks like.
Yeah, it could be. And if their line, if the line is still cheap, you know, I think Amazons were 50k for the line.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good for animal savagery. Like you don't really mind smacking 50k, but you sometimes smacking a skink is a little bit too. Kind of needed that. So lizards probably don't like that as much. But
I'm not sure if piling on works on your own person. I think they cleared that up in an FAQ, but if he does have piling or pile driver,
double kill.
It would just be awful, wouldn't it? For animal savagery, then to
Coup de
mighty
grace.
blow and then fouling your own guy off would be horrific. But it would be if that does combo, that's got to be a good 40k discount. Like it'd just be like, right, I'm going to blitz with this guy, but actually he's on the ground putting the boot in on one of my own players,
and then he got sent off.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like fun gameplay to me, to be honest. I mean, he doesn't have block.
300k for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't have block, but Milton might even run him in that, right?
I mean, I really think whatever his special ability is will be like whether or not we'll see him regularly on the pitch. I think that could like very much change it. I mean, we've had some stars with some filthy abilities, haven't we?
Hackflem's got a very good one, but it doesn't need it, I guess. It's probably the best one to go for. The chainsaw ones are good. Bombers one is
great.
Brilliant. Like, hey, I caught the ball. No, you didn't. I caught the bomb. No, you didn't. Boom. Goodbye.
Have any of the other big guy star players got like decent?
Isn't it Morgs where you like
it's
all Morgs where you get an extra? No, he just has that built in, doesn't he?
Yeah, Grashnak's got a great one that's just like LOL 3-die block, please. Everyone else has kind of got like Varag level, like gets Mighty Blow +2 once per game, that kind of thing. And I can see this guy either having Mighty Blow +2 or a reroll armor roll once per game, or Mighty Blow +2 once per game, which, to be fair, still pretty potent.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we will see him, and I think like lizards are just like the lizard man aesthetic is popular anyway, isn't it? So I mean, like I saw the mini and I was like, all right, so do I need a lizard man team right now?
Do you know, you say that, but I think you and Ben in the last like 24, 48 hours have actually been talking about maybe running a lizard man team.
Yeah.
Well, I had one and I moved it on, but now I regret that decision.
That's a classic Milton move, isn't it?
It is.
You get something, you paint it up great, you get rid of it. You're like, it's time to clear out.
I'm clearing down. I don't need these things. It's like, yeah.
I see. This is why
did I do that?
This is why you should hoard things like the rest of us.
Yeah, it's a very healthy mentality because you never have this. Never get in this situation.
Now, that said, Brute Fun does make some pretty awesome Croxagore models. So if you don't want to wait for Forge World and you don't want to pay the Forge World money, because this is not going to be a small one, this is going to be a 28, 30 something pound guy, I think. Then actually Brute Fun has got some pretty awesome Croxagore STLs out there for you to get hold of one. But
will be my Lizard Man team if I get that one.
I'm printing one at the moment for no, can't talk about that. But the alligator face is so cool.
It is.
Isn't that like, aren't they meant to be though? Because they're Croxagores? Isn't it a play on Croc?
Yeah, but standard Croxagores look more like Tyrannosauruses, don't they? They've got like that Tyrannosaurus head.
I think now. Let's have a look. Yeah, actually, I kind of know what you mean. I think it's just rough sculpting.
Maybe.
Like in all like the actual like artwork, they look a little bit more crocodilian.
We did get a really helpful comment that because I got very confused in the video between the difference between crocodiles and alligators. It is an alligator, I think. Oh,
I think that's what they were alluding to. I was reading the comments. I was like, so I think the like square nose with the teeth that come down is alligator.
I think so. Someone was like, yeah, Croxagore, Croxadile. I was like, yeah. They should be called Croxadiles.
It's a far remove from the old Croxagore model.
Oh,
that's what I'm looking at now.
But the 3rd edition one.
But that's still around, isn't it? Like for Age of Sigma, it's still the current Croxagore range.
Hey, up until recently, that was used in a lot of Lizardman teams because it was technically the only Croxagore.
The only Croxagore you could get.
They're not awful models. There are just much better alternatives out there, and has been for a long time. The Fanath one was probably the best Crocs until
was good.
Until I think
that still is good.
Brute Fun kind of came in and usurped him.
But if you don't have a printer, I think it's still probably the best one you can get.
Yeah, and Fanath is super quick. I mean, I love the way they did that Snake Man, which was on the Monday, the Snake Man star player was revealed. By the Thursday, they had released the model. I bought it, and by the time I'd returned from a different country, it was there. Like, absolutely awesome. Like, it was like a week turnaround between them releasing it and sending it to my house. I was like, wow, this is amazing. In the meantime, Games Workshop still hasn't released the Tree Man. So it was...
Big lizard.
Okay. Right. So
what's next?
This is indicative, right, of Amazon's coming out this weekend.
You'd think.
Yeah. Votan. I keep wanting to say Voltan.
Yeah, I know.
Votan.
Right?
Yeah, it should feel like it should be. They're done now, aren't they? They've had their big preview. So
and they went hard for them last week on the community, didn't they, with the articles? So I really hope that this means Amazon's coming out this week, because it's been over 2 months now, and go for it, Milt.
Do we get any star players in the Norse Spike that were like not miniature releases?
No, they did a brilliant job. They released all 3.
So I'm wondering, because the Lustrian Super League obviously has like a dearth of star players, but we're assuming all 3 of these are going in there, aren't we?
I would think so.
I would hope so.
What other access does Amazon have? Do they get Old World Classic?
No, I think they're just... Well, we don't know. Like
we don't know.
The new team may have access to Old World Classic, which would be interesting.
I think we're given a lot of options. I mean, I was kind of surprised Norse had that, to be fair.
Ugh, Norse with Griff.
Yeah.
Ian Triplo, who couldn't make it to the show tonight, is there licking his lips listening to this. Hello, Ian. And Ian's going to be driving somewhere listening and going, oh, yeah, I could get a good Griff roster. I'm going to have to give up all my rerolls, but that's okay.
He sounded a lot like him. But...
Yeah, that was pretty spot on.
I've had the Griff conversation with him that many times. Right, anyway, so Amazon's coming out tomorrow, basically. Right, I did put a little thing up on YouTube that I thought would be worth it. Coolest star player that we've seen for Amazon so far. Glottalstop, Frog Lady, or Boa. Milton, who's your pick?
I actually voted on this. I chose Glottalstop. I think he's the coolest. And at the time when I voted on it, he was considerably further ahead. So it's interesting to see that Boa has overtaken him there.
I mean, spoilers, but Ben, who would you have gone for? Glottal?
For me, it's Boa, just because it's new and it's a Snake Man. I think Glottal is an awesome model, but I think Boa takes it just because it's really kind of... You said coolest, and I think it's really cool to have something new.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a very biased, misleading question, or like leading question with Frog Lady as the option. There was absolutely no.
No. There is a very good reason for that. On the picture things on YouTube, there is a letter cap, and Estelle Levenot wouldn't fit. So then I put Estelle, and all I could think of was Joey's agent from Friends, and I was going to write Levenot, and I was like, well, I don't know what that means, so that might, So I was just like, we're going to know her as the Frog Lady. There's going to be Glottalstop, who's going to be called Glottalstop, because Glottalstop is a sentence that people are okay with. Boa is going to be... It's just going to be shortened to, I'm running Boa. Okay, cool. And then, sadly, it is going to be the Frog Lady.
Yeah.
That's not on me. That's on Games
Workshop.
Workshop.
Justified this, so yeah.
It would be funny if she's the most popular pick out of the lot.
Yeah, I think we're probably safe. But as Milton said, Boa 43%, Glottalstop 41%, and Frog Lady at 15%. So Frog Lady, stay in your swamp, probably capturing Disney princesses is kind of the vibe I got from that one. And we've got a Kickstarter that is kicking around at the moment, which is the Dwarf Fantasy Football Team from, I wrote it down, but Tatiana Klein. And this is a resin and digital fantasy football team for dwarves. So it's been a while since we've seen a Kickstarter that's for actual physical models, but I think they've done a great thing here, and it's actual miniatures that you can buy that are going to be delivered before Christmas, apparently, and also STLs. So I'm assuming from that is that they're going to be printing them and shipping them if you don't have a printer, which I think is a really good method.
But they've got them on a sprue.
Should we talk about this? This is a weird Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that confused me here was a bit in the beginning. It says, again, this is not going to be produced from a home 3D printer. Oh, that means they're not printing them at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are right. All right, let's scroll down a bit because they've got some examples of the models they've produced. And the team itself will be 1 captain, 1 star player troll slayer, 1 troll slayer, up to 16 different sculpts for linemen, up to 16 different sculpts for blitzers, up to 9 different sculpts for blockers. We say up to because you'll be able to combine the heads and poses to make your own version of each position, which is cool. And each position will have up to 3 sprues available, each containing 4 heads and 4 poses, except in the blocker sprue and the captain and star player sprue. But yeah, they've got sprues.
I
remember
weird.
these.
No, this is weird though, because sprues are specifically an injection plastic molding thing. Like it's a byproduct of that. It's something you don't really want. Yes. And they've gone out of their way to make it. They're doing resin, which implies casting it, which doesn't require a sprue in the same way. And even weirder is when you get the digital files, they come on the sprue.
No.
With supports for the sprue.
To the bottom and you can see it. There you go.
No.
This is odd and very wasteful. And
look at the supports there.
I'm weird about it. I know.
God.
But they're pre-supported.
Well,
like
I mean,
this.
that I haven't seen supports like that, Ben, since old MG Pix did that orc team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they kind of just gel together and you just saw to get them off.
Oh, actually, the Punga Dwarf team was supported in a very similar manner. That was
really?
The worst one I ever had. Like, the supports worked because it basically just printed a solid column of resin. This is really interesting.
It's very strange, and I don't know if they're listening to this, but it's like I would just offer the models before because you've gone out of your way to sculpt a sprue, which you didn't have to. I'm not going to pretend I know everything about molding, by the way. This could be something they had to do, but I don't think they did have to do it.
High quality resin. Yeah, that's.
I feel like they've gone for the novelty of the sprue when sprue is something you really don't really want. And one of the best things about 3D printing is that you don't need stuff like that because you can just get the thing directly. So just offer that. It saves so much resin. Like looking at this photo is like there is so much resin there that's not on the model.
So
sorry, I'm talking too negative about this.
I have to say that I missed that. So great job, guys. That is a really interesting design. That I don't understand it, but let's talk through the prices, and then we're going to talk about the design because actually I like the design. So the digital option, including 3D printed sprues, will be £18. Get all 3 different sprues and the troll slayers and the captain skull. Okay, 18 quid for an STL team is bang on where we expect to be, right? Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's 2 months of Punga. It's basically, I think, what you get now. £55 early bird team. You get 3 runner sprues, 3 blocker sprues, 3 blitzer sprues, and character sprues times 3 in high quality resin. Now, I think that gives you 15 players. With 4. Oh no, it gives you a ton of players potentially. If each sprue has got, each sprue has got 3 dudes and 4 heads, which means you get 9 runners, 9 blockers, 9 blitzers.
They're saying here they've got 16 different sculpts for linemen, 16 different sculpts for blitzers, 9 different sculpts for blockers.
So is it 3? It's 3 obviously it's 3 variants of that sprue. So there are 3 blitzer sprues. How many blitzers are on a sprue?
3. But potentially.
Yeah, so 9.
No, I think it's 1 blitzer sprue. But the thing is, you get different sculpts because you can put a head on each.
Maybe.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I think you get like 4 players on a blitzer sprue, I'm going to guess.
Yeah. £61 for some number of dwarves. Which is okay. It looks like there's going to be at least a team's worth. Now, the design of these dwarves Right, the sprue just looks so Mantic Games. It makes me super happy. But the design, I think, is super Lord of the Rings, like Lord of the Rings cinematic.
I was just thinking that they seem like I want to say like more true scale than like the Games Workshop stuff, like where we have the like normal hero scale, and like the look and feel of them is very Middle Earthy.
It's super Khazad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They remind me of the dwarves who walk up and down the bridge in the new Rings of Power, because they've got like that beard armor as well, which is just sweet. If you haven't seen it, it's quite good. It's quite good. All right. I mean, it's interesting. So I like the designs. There are going to be a lot of people out there, I think, are digging the Lord of the Rings vibe right now who are going to love this. The couple of questions is, one, is the sprue is questionable. Two, there's no scale sizing here. So if you're buying a physical copy, you don't really know. It says the minis are the standard 28 to 30 mil scale for fantasy football games. Where's the Wolverine lineman? Like, come on.
Like, everyone needs that.
Yeah. If you're doing STLs, it doesn't matter quite so much, unless they're pre-supported, in which case you need to know the scale. Punga, bless them. And yeah, interesting one. Like, and I think my other point is that the dwarf team market, I think, might be one of the most saturated teams out there. Everyone does a good dwarf team.
There are plenty of options for sure. Yeah, I'm just thinking about them actually, because you got Punga, Grebo, Fanath. They've all got great dwarf teams.
This one,
the actual Games Workshop dwarf box is one of the better ones.
Yeah,
in terms of what you get in it. So
none of them kind of have this sort of style, though.
No, I agree. This is very unique.
Yes.
This one isn't like a one-to-one copy of anything I've seen, really.
I like it. I like the style. The sprue is interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't just produce the files without the sprue. Like, it's not
Please do that. Please.
Massive job for someone who knows how to do it. I couldn't do it. Ben probably could.
No, I can no. Definitely training that. But like, if you can put a sprue on the models, then you would have the model to begin with. So just export the file without the sprue on, please.
Interesting one. Very, very, very interesting. Anyway, that is what did we call it? What is it called? Dwarf Fantasy Football Team. Blood Bowl. All right, cool. There you go. That's on there. It's open for 9 more days. Which means its last day will be Friday, September 23rd. So interesting one there to see. And the next thing to talk about is more tournaments. So Milton, Ben, Trips have done a great job working together to bring the Discord to life again. And on there, we have got a little tab called Tournaments. And in that, people are advertising some of the tournaments that are going on. There's quite a lot in there, so I'm just going to go through a couple that have been listed. But if you are in the market for Blood Bowl tournaments, actually join our Discord. There's a great little tournament section there. So Limestone City Dungeon Brawl is in Canada, and that's going to be taking place on Saturday, 5th of November. That is Ontario in Canada. So if you are from that area, there's a tournament coming there. That is by Sergeant Saunders, who has picked up the Bonehead mats and tokens. So if you were in Canada and couldn't get to come to the Dorset Dungeon Bowl, go to the Limestone City Dungeon Brawl, because it's the same maps with the same tokens, and I really hope that's going to be a good one, because I love a bit of Dungeon Bowl, and I loved our format. I thought it was awesome. Next one we had, which is I'm genuinely considering going to, because looking at Tiff's work schedule, she is going to be working this weekend that it's on, which is Sunday the 30th of October, which is Halloween Bowl Sevens, and that's in Surrey. 5 games of sevens on a day, and the format is the same as SCA Sunday, which I'm a big fan of that format. So it is 600k. You've got teams with proper Games Workshop tiers, and tier 1 2 skills primaries, tier 2 2 primaries and a double, secondary. Man, it's been years, I'm still doing that. And then tier 3 gets, oh man, can't remember what they get. 2 and 2. Yeah, nice. Ooh, tier 3 is pretty tempting here, actually. And they've got a cool little tweak where they're using the graveyard weather table from Death Zone and some random balls as well, which is pretty cool. So
that's cool. Yeah. I think I remember talking about that. I think we would like that graveyard weather table too.
Yeah. Was it Death Zone? Yeah, it was Death Zone, but I think they dropped that in Spike 11, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Which I maintain is the best Spike we've had since Milton's Spike number 7, the Lizardman one. Loved that. Really, really, really loved that. So good few tournaments coming up. There is that one I think was in May. That one's already happened. Australia, November 12th. There's Thoughtless Bowl 3. And Hammer Bowl is the one that's May next year, which is cool. October 30th. The Battle for Breath is happening, and January you got the Welsh Championship. So yeah, if you are in the market for Blood Bowl tournaments, then a good place to come to is our Discord, and I have put the link in the show notes. I've already done it. It's in there, and I'll try my best to put a pinned comment with it on there. There's another one in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, on Sunday the 30th of October. Man, apparently Canada's the good place to be for Blood Bowl.
I think there was one this last weekend in Quebec, right? Looking on here.
I like that. What's this one? Tier 1, 1,200. 1.2 million. Tier 2, 1. Huh? Oh, that's the skill allowance. Wow. 1250 TV plus 120k for Tier 1, 160k for Tier 2, and 220k for Tier 3. That is a chunky boy of a roster. I like that. That's cool. All right. So it's wicked to see some of the tournaments that are going on. And yeah, if you want to keep your nose to the ground and your ears to the sky, then actually bounce over to the Discord where there is a ton of good Blood Bowl gear going on. Right, guys, have I missed anything off the news bit, or are we all clear?
I think that's all everything.
Okay, let's talk games. Okay, so hobby and games and things, and we're going to start off with a league update from Wobble because this season is going to be closing at the end of the month. So we have to get to our 7th game by the end of the month, and things have changed a little bit at the top. It was Ben sitting there at 4-0, and Ben is still sitting at 4-0, but some other people have surpassed you, Ben. You've dropped to 3rd place because
yeah, that's what happens when you skip club a few weeks, isn't it? So
you've been leapfrogged by Byron's Underworld, who got a win last night. That Underworld team is nasty. It's his 2nd season actually. It rolled over.
Yeah.
Actually,
how's this better runner looking? Nice missing next games. Oh, they're all in. Okay, I feel like I'm going to get matched up against him in the worst possible time.
Well, I'm hoping you get matched up against him in the finals because, yeah, Palmer Violence.
He's got a blodging 2 heads extra arms thrower. It's disgusting.
Yep.
Nearly 200k in that player.
2 heads, sneaky git, a block 2 heads sidestep gutter runner. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that better than Hackflem?
Block 2 head sidestep. He's not Edge 1+.
No, but block instead of Edge 1+ is interesting.
Yeah, true, actually. Yeah. Hackflem's strength 3, though, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, Hackflem's just a tank, to be fair.
Yeah.
Skaven Clan Rat with block and guard, Skaven Thrower, Blitzer with tackle, mighty blow, and an Underworld Troll with claws and guard. That's a pretty mighty roster there. So that's number 1. Number 2 in the league at the moment is James the Dwarf Lord has snuck his Elven Union in there with a couple of wins. He's got 6 games done, and he's sitting at 4-1-1. Then it's UBT at 4-0-0 at the moment. How's your team looking?
A bit beat up, but hanging in there.
Okay. Jugs Roger, Blitzer with mighty blow, Blitzer with block, but armor busted. That's not the end of the world. Gutter, block 2 heads is missed next game. Gutter with
busted that one.
Random sneaky git.
Yep.
That's ideal. Gutter runner with block, that's good. Gutter runner with dodge. Thrower.
Every passing skill except the good one. Yeah.
Hey, Milton, how would you feel about a Skaven thrower with Fumblerooski on the ball and Cloudburster?
Super useful.
Yeah, man. Hey, he is useful, but only because he's already a good thrower to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OTB is good though. OTB is really good. That's a fast offense. And a couple more linemen missing next game. Oh, yeah, they are a bit beat up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. But you're sitting there at 12 points, Ben, with 4 games. So you've got 3 games left you can play.
Yeah,
Byron's
if I win one,
2.
I'm in playoffs, I think.
Basically, yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Then Greenskin Phil, who wrecked my Black Orc team the other week with an absolute detestable and well played 2-0 thrashing of the Black Mountain Buccaneers, with a little bit of help from Hackflem and Bomber. In 4th place, then you got Just Jack, Undead Jack, 11.6 games played. Solid team, really solid. That's quite a scary team. Guard, mummy, guard, grab, mummy, stuff like that. And Jack plays real well too. The Stormdrakes have finished their season. They finished with a loss against Trips and his Norse with Griff.
Wow. Yeah, Griff North. And that is like, yeah, pure EN, isn't it?
And Milton, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your special sauce, wasn't it, Milton?
It's a great format.
Has a Sand Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, I got top touchdowns in that. Something ridiculous. He's a machine, isn't he?
Griff is automatic. Yeah. And then me sitting at 7 with 10 points. I got 2 games left. I was in 4th for a brief moment on Tuesday night. After I finished my game, I did sneak in a game. I did sneak in a win, 2-0 against Tom's Renegades. And then Trips sitting there 8th with the Norse team. Only 3 games played. And then Warhammer with 5 games of Ogres next. Then you got Rich Saxby with the Limhurst Rooks, his human team. So I did get a game in and it was great fun. It was against Tom, played Renegades. But Renegades were missing a couple of key pieces. So guys, Renegades, what are your top 2 positionals?
Ooh.
Who would you...
The Goblin.
Okay, yeah, no, the Goblin was in.
The Mino, probably.
The Mino was missed next game, as was the Skaven.
Ooh,
So
okay.
it was an interesting one. He had like 150k or something like that. So took an extra reroll. Then I bought Bomber because I had a load of cash. And I bought Bomber and a bribe because I was like, well, you know what? Big guys, there's only 2 big guys. We use Bomber just to keep trying to drop those big guys down. And to be honest with you, Bomber was all right. It worked okay. But I elected to receive, which I don't normally do. Normally you kick and go for the 2-1 grind. But I was like, I'm not going to let the big guys... An ogre versus a black orc is exactly the same as an ogre versus a human lineman. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if they're strength 5, you're strength 3. It doesn't matter. So I was like, well, I'm going to open up. I've got Bomber. Actually, we'll just see what carnage we can do. And I rolled brilliantly. Open up. Grot Braley surfed a guy because he's got Pro and Frenzy, and he was just running around. And then he got surfed. To be like, Tom's got a brilliant goblin with 2 heads and horns. So he's just an absolute blitz machine. Yeah. Really, really, really good. And it was a really interesting one. So I received the ball landed basically just behind my line of scrimmage. So I kind of protected it and then just blocked away. Took a couple of surfs, just absolute pounded down. Went for a cheeky foul, got a goblin sent off, but got the guy killed, basically got him sent off, like got him. So it was just a case of removal. So by the end of the first half, I think it was basically like 7 players on his side and 8 players on my side. So it was like it snowballed. But I have to say the highlight of the entire match, end of the first half, Tom had a classic, right, I got a throw teammate option here. I bundled in, just chucked TZs on the ogre. He was like, well, it's a 6 or nothing, and he rolled a 2, which is, with any kind of modifier, wildly inaccurate, and then hooned his own goblin into the crowd and got badly hurt. And that was it. Goblin was absolutely gone. So it just kind of snowballed, and then I managed to score a defensive touchdown in the second half. I argued the call successfully as well with Bomber, so I just kept throwing bombs when I could, and then actually just used Bomber as a distraction to kind of screen. Went really well, so I won the 2-1, the 2-0 grind, which was really useful. And Zolog's got tackle, because I'm looking at the league and there's plenty of dodgy people kicking around. At
some point we're probably playing each other, and that's going to come in.
Hopefully, nicely, yeah. So Greg DeCrawl's got guard, Zolog's has got tackle, Small Saw Snapper did all right. I think he got another touchdown. He's got wrestle. Barflog the Brave with shadowing got sent off for fouling, and Grob Brady is sitting there, got another touchdown. Pro and Frenzy, which is an interesting match, interesting mix of skills. It's not ideal, but dude, with the cheeky bit of guard, it's not hard to set up a 4-die block with Grot Brady, and because he's got pro, those ones where it's like push or push skull, you just try and pro the skull or a push. It's a free dice, so it's basically gone from a 4-die block to a 4.5-die block.
So it's pro. Can you just reroll one of them then?
You are only allowed to reroll one.
Oh, okay. That's actually kind of good then.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Brawler-y in a way.
Yeah, if you've got pro and Brawler, you can reroll the both. You can reroll the both down. If you don't like it, you can then try and pro the other dice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, not as good as block, because if you have block, you just both down them and you're good to go. But it was a.
He's on 17 SPP, Grot Brady. What an absolute champ.
Yeah, he's done great, and everyone keeps trying to kill him. He got surfed in this game, which is probably the safest place for him after he surfed a human lineman who ended up at the sideline. I was like, ooh, it's too tempting not to take it. Push, off the pitch, and then kind of realised that his goblin blitzes at strength 3 and therefore was going to get 2 dice on Grot Brady. I was like, no, Grot Brady's gone. But at least he didn't die. And that pro is just so useful for doing things like picking up the ball when you run out of rerolls and stuff. And Tom also has a pro lineman who did a really solid job, because he tried to put the boot in with his human thrower for the Renegades, and the thrower got sent off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a bit like that.
That's a mistake. I can see. 4 minutes in.
Yeah, I probably should click on the game. So the thrower got sent off, so the pro lineman then did everything. And then I think we ended up surfing him as well, and he got killed. Then got apothecaried back to, I think, maybe miss next game or just regular injury or something.
Yeah, injury, miss next game by the looks of it.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a solid one. We rolled garbage on dedicated fans though. At the beginning of the game.
Oh yeah.
Like a 1 and a 2. I've still got +6, so we still got a reasonable amount of money, but
70k and 50k, but 50k in 2020 is pretty low.
Yeah, it is. It was a great game though. Loved the matchup. It was really good fun. Love Renegades, and I was super glad that the Minotaur wasn't there, because that Minotaur versus Black Orcs is dangerous, because there's nothing. Blitz is the troll. It's just brutal.
Even with your guard, it's not enough.
Yeah. So I got very lucky in the timing of that match, and just tried to beat the heck out of them. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It worked that game. It did not work against Greenskin Phil, who just outplayed me and Hackflem. Basically a bomber and Hackflem, which, what the heck do you do? Like, do you cage up to protect yourself from Hackflem?
You die and lose.
Well, yes.
I think is what you...
Tick. Mission accomplished. Yeah, so I was like within scoring range, so I caged up, because I was like, well, what's more likely? Bomber taking out the entire cage, or Hackflem going in for a 2-die blitz? Turns out Bomber taking out the entire cage. Threw a ball. The ball carrier went down, as did, I think, 2 sides of the cage. And then Hackflem just ran in there, grabbed the ball. It was beautifully well played, and continues my streak of consistently losing against people who have won our tournaments.
Yeah,
I can't say Wayne and him. I've not beaten.
No one can beat Wayne.
Did Sam Frenzy Garner did win our league? That did win a tournament of ours, didn't he?
Yeah, he won with Corn. I think.
Okay, fine. All right. I have beaten one of our tournament champions. That's something.
Okay.
We're like building our own little. What's the league called at the end of the Pokemon game?
Indigo.
The Elite Four?
Yeah.
The Elite Four, yeah.
We're building our own Elite Four of Blood Bowlers. It's amazing.
Oh, that'd be so good, wouldn't it? That would be amazing.
There's a show right there.
Young leaders and Elite.
How about you guys? Got any good games in recently?
No, I've been really bad at going to club. Yeah, I don't think I've played anything since the last pod.
Shame.
I played a bit of AOS actually. That is true. I did play some small games of AOS with my friend.
Was it fun?
Yeah, we played actually 500-point games, which was actually way more fun.
Wow.
Which I was really surprised.
We tried that at club, and then Ian Power gamed it, and it was the least fun I think I've had in a very long time.
Not only you, I think Milton here Power gamed it somewhere.
Yeah, all right. Lessons were learned.
Yeah. Zombie Dragon in a 500-point game with like armor that you can't hit.
It was amazing, but it was probably unjustifiable.
Yeah,
that game's so broken.
Great models, but that is definitely where fun goes to die a little bit.
Yeah.
How about you, Mel? Any games?
Yeah, no, actually I have. I mean, we've played some, haven't we, Ben? But I can't say too much about that quite yet, I don't think.
You'll see the first one of those in a few weeks, which is cool.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we've got a Sevens League here on the island, and what I am learning is that the Death Zone rules for Sevens League are unforgiving, but a lot of fun. I'm running my undead team, so yeah. It was kind of interesting. So my first game was against Khorne. That went all right. I lost, but it was a close loss. And then I played against Snotlings, where I won, but he killed one of my my whites because I was running a two ghoul, 2 white, 2 skeleton zombie list with a reroll, and yeah, like losing a white that early on in the league was just horrendous, and I haven't made the cash up for it. And so I played my 3rd and 4th game last Wednesday, and they were both really fun. So I played first game was against Necromantic.
Ooh, Undead versus Necro. Was he running wolves?
Yeah. 2 wolves.
Okay.
And yeah, he outnumbered me enormously in terms of like players. It was a draw. And I got extremely lucky. I mean, the thing is about the sevens is, a lot of the teams are not running rerolls, and that in itself can be unforgiving because you make those plays where you're like, the odds are in my favour. I've got to make this play. And Simon, who was my opponent, who's a fantastic coach, just got a little bit unlucky. Like he was there, he was about to score, and he went for the 2-up dodge and failed it. Had no reroll to rely on, and then my ghoul just got in there, got the ball, swung around, and we kind of went back and forth and never really got anywhere, and ended up in a draw. I didn't lose any players in that game, and so that was nice. But I did have obviously because I'd lost out my white, my blitzer. I was running another zombie lineman as my journeyman, and I still didn't have enough cash to really buy anything of any significance other than buying the lineman for the next game. So I just left it. My next game was against Elf Union, which I won.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's impressive with a crippled undead roster.
Well, he had a fairly crippled elf team as well. So he'd played Chris's Norse, and Chris's dice were on fire. And I think at the end of the match, he just had 2 players left on the pitch, and half of them in the injury box. I think he'd lost one of his blitzers. The game that we were in, so he was a bit powered down, and yeah, his dice were just super unlucky in our game as well, and I took every advantage of that as I could, the 2-1 win, and so I managed to get enough cash, and I've sat there. The funny thing about it is the skill ups, because you get the
random,
choice, don't you? And it's random, so it's either you choose.
It's random primary or random secondary.
You select a player and it's random, or it randomly selects a player and you choose. So for every single one of my skill ups, I've I've taken. Oh yeah, but that's not the funniest part. So I got to the end of the necromantic game, and you have to roll on any of your skilled players to see whether or not they stay or they go off to the big leagues. So you roll a d6, and you've got to roll more than what they have in terms of skill. So if they've got one skill, you're looking at a 2-up, right?
Yeah.
And I had my 2 ghouls, which had both leveled up. One of them had sure hands, and the other one had strip ball. Okay.
Yeah.
And the strip ball one left.
Okay.
So I went into that Elf Union game with without the
Do you get paid for that, or do they just leave?
No, they leave.
This doesn't sound like the most fun way to play Blood Bowl.
Yeah, so it's frustrating. So
I feel like Sevens is a great way to try out teams and stuff like that. I think Sevens is brilliant for like constructed Blood Bowl, preferably expansion, where you brew up and you add a skill and stuff. But the thing is with Sevens is like league can be crushing in 11s, right? But with Sevens, every single player that you miss is basically twice as impactful.
It's horrendous.
And then if you're losing your good players as well and not getting anything back, that is just God. That is a game. That might be the most masochistic league way of playing Blood Bowl.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I got a skill up on my White Blitzer, which is Stand Firm, which actually came in really useful in the Elf game. Kind of forced some like difficult decisions, and I've now got another ghoul with Fend. I'm not sure how like useful that's going to be.
Oh wow!
I am currently sitting top of the league.
Oh, good lad.
With my 2-1-1. I don't know how long that's going to last though, because there's quite a few guys that haven't played 4 games yet, and we're going up to 6. So I've got 2 more games though, and then it'll go into finals. So I've still got a chance.
Come on, Milton. You can do it. You can do it.
I can do it. That'd be good.
Cool. Right. I think we've all got some games in. We're going to have a busy month, where hopefully Ben and I are going to get some more club games in Wobble Land. I've got my first game in the Entoyment League coming up. And then, we got these games this coming weekend, BT, as well, which would be good fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Wicked.
The stream's going to be fun. Good to see people there.
Hopefully it'll be really good. Right, we'll take a quick break, and then it's time to talk Bonehead Podcast. Okay, and we're back. So it is episode 100, and we had a ton of ideas and a ton of great suggestions out there for what we could do. We could do this, we could do that, we could do a live stream, we could play some games. All of that is awesome fun, and we intend to do it in the future. But with the timeline of everything that was going on, and I had to push the schedule back and everything, and it just seemed like, actually, you know what we want to do is just have a chat, have a podcast, have a chat, and then we can do all the cool stuff in the future when we've got time. I think where we've got 7 Super Series filming at the moment, and we're in 7's month, so there's a ton of content kind of going out. The thought of doing a live stream and a bash or dash like thing was actually a little bit too much work, too much stress right now. So what we did was we posted out on the Discord, and we'll have a look at that in a second, and on YouTube, and we said, well, it's episode 100 time. We had so many great suggestions on what to do. BT and I have decided to kick back and chill chat episode instead. I want your thoughts on a few things. What is your Bonehead Podcast highlight? What should we do more of? What should we do less of? And space for a random thought about Blood Bowl. And we thought we'd just have a chat through it, and actually it'll be a really good opportunity for us to talk through some of the great stuff we've done, talk through some of the stuff we want to do, and I have no doubt we're going to have some great Blood Bowl nonsense kind of conversations pieces in here as well. So guys, this is just us having a chat about the podcast and about Blood Bowl, really. So pressure is off, and we can just chill chat, which I think is pretty nice. Because I have a feeling that despite Milton's negativity, it's going to be Amazon week next week. So okay, let's have a look at some of the comments on the YouTube bit, and then we'll hit the Discord afterwards. Okay, so Lucas says, I've been a big fan of the show for a while and recommend it every chance I get. What I'd love to see is specific team guides against other specific teams, like how to win against dwarves with Lisbon, or how to win against dark elves as Lisbon, etc., etc., etc. I think Lucas might be having trouble with Lisbon. Love the show. Big congrats on your 100th episode. Thank you very much, Lucas. I guess this one, from a content point of view, this will happen at some point in a series of shows called Matchup Monday. But it's a lot of effort and it's a lot of prep. And even though I've got a video intro and a logo for it, I haven't had the time to plan it out and do the stuff, because all I do in my spare time is make intros.
If there's an alliterative idea, I think you've already had it.
Exists, yeah.
I can't tell you how upset I am with the stuff that Games Workshop are doing. Like Heresy Thursday.
Monthly meta or whatever it is.
No, but like Heresy Thursday.
Yeah.
The closest thing they've got is New Mini Monday, and I'm like, oh, I like that. That's all right. That's all right. And then Heresy Thursday. I guess you can really how could you alliterate heresy? I don't know if you can.
Doesn't go to any days of the week or month.
Horus, Heresy, Istvan. I don't know. I guess you can't do it. Hey, if we can't do it, like you said.
Drop Zone December.
That would be fun.
Is it Drop Zone? Drop Site?
Drop Site.
What? Was it Drop Site Massacre?
Nothing says Christmas spirit like a massacre, Ben. like
yeah.
like the Istvan massacre.
Yeah.
On the 12th day of Istvan, the Primarchs gave to me
5 dead legions.
Yeah, virus bombs.
Yeah. We've already taken up the idea. They're going to do a Christmas video now, and it's going to be that.
I hope so, because we could be there and be like, yay, that was us. Anyway, Lucas, thank you very much. Mick T, congratulations on the 100. One thing I missed I'd like to see again is the creative challenges with listener responses, star players, spells, giants, short stories, and that kind of stuff. What should there be less of? A wise man once said, more Blood Bowl is more better. There should be less of nothing. I like that. So, guys, creative challenges and star players and spells and stuff like that. I think this is a good point to start postulating, because we've had some good fun doing stuff like that, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I remember doing something with the Comet from AOS or something.
Oh, the Endless Spells competition.
Yeah, that was it. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was a while ago now, wasn't it?
That was a while ago. This is the really funny thing. 100 episodes, right, is probably, 4 and a bit years of Blood Bowl?
That's mental.
And in that time, we started off with Rich and I recording on his kitchen table with, I say bad audio. We've kind of, that's a running theme.
It has improved. We have kinks, but it's definitely improved.
Yeah, except I filmed Whip Wednesday today, and because my all the templating was on OBS on the PC, and obviously the PC just can't handle being used anymore. So I was like, no worries, export, upload it. What I didn't do was change the mic input or anything, so I recorded Whip Wednesday in complete silence.
Oh, no way.
And I was like, oh, good. Oh,
the
good.
meme lives.
More. Yeah.
Whip Wednesday indeed.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I feel really gutted because there's some really cool stuff. I'm like, brilliant.
Oh,
but I'll be re-recording that on Saturday. I was like, that's okay. I feel gutted. But no, it's cool.
That's the worst feeling.
It happens so much. It's so aggravating. I really should have learned by now. But you get to a point where you're comfortable with the settings, and then you stop double checking because you're like,
complacency.
I know. We're getting better with the show. I mean, the audio was quiet at the beginning, and then we fixed it because we checked the audio. So
yeah, that is true. Apologies about that.
Personal growth.
Yeah,
it's only taken 100 episodes. But yeah, like you guys said, it's been a really long time, and we've been through different iterations of Blood Bowl. So my first question to you guys is how do you see, how is Blood Bowl right now, like as a complete level? Because when we started the podcast, we were exploring stuff because the core was all there, right? So we were off creating spells, star players, giants. Where do you see Blood Bowl now compared to then? Like how far along?
I think it's in a pretty healthy place, to be honest. Like I think because it still feels kind of new with the new edition, we haven't really felt like we needed to add that. Like I know we've got been really hard on secret teams and stuff like that. And like the mixed team tournaments was like part of it because it was a really fresh, like, icing on top of something which has kind of been the same for a long time. And it was really cool to do that. And then we're still kind of in that nice honeymoon period, I think, of the new season. I think it's getting to the point now where it would be nice to go back to that, hence our tournament in November. And so that will be really interesting. And I'd love to see us play with secret teams more in 2020. But yeah, I think ultimately the game's pretty good right now. It's pretty good to me, at least.
How do you feel about it, Milton? Where do you think Blood Bowl is?
Yeah, I agree with Ben, really. I think honeymoon phase is quite a good way to describe it, isn't it? Like, I'm still trying to adjust to the changes. And then I think, like, oh, it's been out for like 2 years. What's wrong with me?
That first year, though, was COVID, wasn't it? So it was kind of like, it was at the end of COVID. We snuck a tournament in October, and then we all went back into lockdown 3, lockdown 2, and then it was a bit uncomfortable for a bit. So
it's only really been out in league play since we've, lockdowns lifted, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's true. And yeah, I've had the experience of parenthood as well on top of that. So
yeah, of course. You've popped a sprog. I've got married. Ben's bought a house.
Yeah, all sorts of crazy
grown up.
He hasn't decorated the lounge yet, but that's fine.
And yeah, I think you're right. Like, yeah, we just haven't had that need to kind of introduce that kind of stuff. But that format was very sort of solved.
It was solved. Yeah. I think it was. I think definitely, and that's something that we really enjoyed at the beginning of it. Was a case of, and to be fair, we do like. I think our shtick here with Blood Bowl is do stuff that's fun, but here's some ways to get better. But this is kind of casual to intermediate territory. We're not pros. We can play Blood Bowl really well when we want to, but as a team of people, generally speaking, dude, you were top table at one of our tournaments.
My damn hardest.
And you're 4-0 in the league. Okay, so not only were you top table at a tournament, but you were also winning until you decided to stop coming to winning the league. So we got that bit, but actually, we'd rather try the next fun thing. Play with the rules, try a different experience. And that was what got us all into this, was that Bonehead Bowl at the beginning was a case of, I mean, I don't want to go to the 27th tournament where I'm going to be playing the same Dark Elf list against the same Wood Elf list. Like, actually, we were like, yeah, you can do that, but actually, why not have just one random event where everyone has a good time and does something different and different fun? And yes, I know that you don't earn NAF points for it, but hey, your opponent may not be NAF registered anyway, so
it felt like before we were playing with sort of expansions and DLC, and now we've got a new game and we're still exploring the vanilla content.
Wow, you say that though. We've had an expansion in Dungeon Bowl,
which was awesome.
Very true.
Mean, we've had that's another reason that's kind of contributed to this honeymoon phase, hasn't it? Because we had the season 2 box set drop, and then a year later, Dungeon Bowl as another complete box set with a whole other complete rule set.
And sevens as well.
And sevens, and official sevens in the Death Zone as well. So we've got all of this really cool Games Workshop led kind of changes and stuff. And it's just, it's crazy, isn't it? But what I was going to say is, the format's changed, the meta's changed, the teams have changed. And so what we're going to be able to do at some point is come back and revisit all those things, like the spells, the giants, the star players, and all of that kind of stuff, because it's different. It's vastly different to how it was previously. And we can kind of come over that content again, and we can do a comparison as to how things have sort of changed.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I love exploring stuff. And I think, we like you said, Ben, we haven't even started looking at the secret team stuff, and a lot of it isn't fully locked in yet from on the Fumble side, and they've done some horrible things to some of your teams. I don't know if you've looked at them, but the ethereal team. Oh,
they're fine. I
thought you.
Oh, yeah, I bet you don't.
Are very, very, very different.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, no, I've seen it.
which is cool. I mean, like literally, like you just said, Milton. Like it's a refresh. Like this is Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined series, but with Blood Bowl. God, I love that series. Great,
so say we
great
all.
show. So say we all. It's not aged the best. It's not terrible, but yeah, the mini series is still so good. And Bear McCreary, the music, so good. Anyway, great point there. Baron. Well, first of all, massive congratulations on an awesome achievement. 100 episodes. That only tells a fraction of the story, though, when you think about all the YouTube content as well. Yeah, we're on the way to 1,000 videos, which is pretty sweet as well. Here are my top 5 highlights. Love that. Good lad. Bonehead Podcast 62, Bash or Dash. Yeah. This has been flagged by so many people, and I think this is probably going to have to be the first thing that we do again soon. Such a funny segment, and everyone got really competitive. It's also a fun but simple game that I think was put together very fairly. It could easily fall down due to subjectivity, but I agree with every decision made by Bonehead Ben when he placed the teams along the Bash Dash spectrum. Wasn't me. I used numbers given to me by everybody else. It wasn't me, it was the spreadsheet, which is amusing.
He agreed with the community data.
Yeah, that was it. Man, that's literally my job at work as well. That's really funny. It's not me, it's the maths. I need to go back and listen to that again. We need to go back and film another one of those. 47 Secret Team Special, a fantastic look at many wonderful teams from Fumble Secret League. Here we go, lads. I think Baron might be a full bonehead here. 87, the Beachhead Tournament Weekend Special. As someone who took part in the tournament, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to the debrief and analysis. It was a fantastic weekend and a pleasure to be a part of, although I was gutted my roster was one off for finishing 5th, getting showcased on the podcast from the 7th day. Bonehead Podcast number 1, where it all began. Dude, Baron has done my job for me. Love this guy. I love this episode for its raw joy of Blood Bowl and the laid-back nature of the chat, the crazy ideas and the genuine desire to build the Blood Bowl community. And I like to think that that's kind of stuck with us, but it's definitely a little bit of an element there where the 2020 reset made us go away from crazy exploration into, I think, what we've already said, guys, about like we went, because there was so much to explore outside of standardized Blood Bowl. Everything was ridiculous, and then we kind of focused a little bit more on the core game. Which I don't think it's bad, because I think that's helped us hopefully grow the community, because actually it's a case of you're joining a fresh game, you're joining a new place, and actually this is where you start, and soon enough.
Yeah, selfishly it was quite nice for me because I was new anyway, so it's like finally I'm on the same level playing field as everyone else when this new edition comes out.
The hard reset was good. I'd also like to share my top 5 YouTube highlights, top 5 Fridays, love it. Love a good ranking, I can tell. And also fantastic and surprising seeing everyone else's opinion. Team development videos, even if my skill choices are sometimes non-optimal, they're the best ones. Just look at Ben's Skaven team. I love this one, guys. 7 Super Series. The theme tune alone is the reason it's here. Fantastic Blood Bowl action with an interesting development progression. Anyone who hasn't checked out Series 0, 1 and 2 should definitely go back and give it a go. And in just a few weeks, Season 3 as well. Guys, when I brewed up the when I brought the trailer out of retirement the other week for the September 7's update video, I was so happy. It makes me so happy. But on that video, I got a copyright flag on YouTube.
Really?
Yes, and it's the only time I have bothered arguing it. So I went to the place where I got the video with the intro music from, and I argued with them, and they did the thing, and I had to contact this other person. We're all clear. So I was like, no. I was going to
say, because we definitely licensed that music.
Yes. I was like, that is our music. And if I have to challenge every single video, I damn well will, because that music is so important. And
it is.
I actually really love the Bonehead. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what. We're going to come to that in a sec. Number 2, monthly meta. It's a great recap to see what the current needs are. But the really interesting bit is seeing how teams have performed in the last quarter. I love doing the monthly meta. I haven't done it for September yet for 2 reasons. One, because I am genuinely waiting for Amazons to drop so that it can be in there, because it seems stupid to be like, here's a monthly meta, and then 2 weeks later Amazons are out. And also because the NAF stats, I'd have no idea how to get to them, so I'm relying on Mike Davies to process them. I should probably just go and have a chat with him. He does great work. He does, like, this is the ex-NAF president. I don't think anybody in the world loves Blood Bowl more than Mike. But I have to wait for him to kind of filter the data out of the secret sanctum of the NAF database before we can really get to grips with it.
Perform the ritual.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit like incense and mechanicum.
Chanting.
Yeah. So I probably have to just go and have a chat with him and be like, hey, how do I get access to the data? I've been paying the FNAF for like 10 years. I've had 2 accounts for like 6 of them because I couldn't remember how to log into the other one. Which actually was a point of contention when I ran for NAF presidency. Which I forgot about. They were like, well, why is your account so new? And I was like, because I locked myself out the other one and couldn't be bothered to try and get it reset. It was just easier for me to go and spend £10 and get another set of dice to create another account.
The most Ben sentence I've heard.
Oh, well, you know, it's more dice. I was like, oh, I love dice.
That is fair, yeah.
I was like, it's always good to have another set of block dice. So I was
I like this logic.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you would, Milt. And number 1, Bonehead Championship. This is the culmination of years of testing, playing, and experimenting with recording Blood Bowl. The design of the championship, the branding of the teams and logos and merch, the variety of coaches and the viewer participation. It was all excellent and a huge success, and I cannot wait for the next one. And it has some great shouts there, and I love the tune for the Bonehead Championship as well.
I love the BHPC. The best feeling I had with this was seeing people come to tournaments in the team shirts. That's like the best thing ever. So if you've done that, just thank you. That feels so awesome.
That was
like, hey, someone's wearing the two-year-old Titans.
Oh, the Titans. Oh gosh, I can't remember the chap's name. That was an absolute highlight. And then Ben brought the Wild Hunters t-shirt to the Dungeon Bowl team, and then then went and did Great Blood Bowl with War Dancers, which was just super appropriate and way better at that than my words were at wording. That was a very big, very big failure.
That was a me sentence. Good job.
It's like, yeah, Bens and sentences. That's where we shine. I
can't hear.
Oh,
not picking up.
No.
Oh well, I was listening to the 7 Super Series theme tune. Noise filtering's too good.
We've fixed the audio too much. You need to go back.
Good job with the condenser. What do I want more of? Anything of the above. Actually, there's one thing. It'd be really great if somewhere you had a Hall of Fame section with each of your previous tournaments and who the winner was and what team they used. Even just a list on the website that could be added with each tournament. Of course. That's such a good idea. And I think, Milton, with the way you were kind of curating the tournaments at the moment, having that organisation is
yeah, I could facilitate that.
So much
I'll
easier.
put that on my list of to-dos. Get on that.
Dude, that'd be amazing. It can be really challenging, like running tournaments, because I think now's probably a good time to talk about Blood Bowl tournaments. It can be really what am I trying to say? You got to be flexible when dealing with people. Like, we like to do things one way, but actually it's not our game. Like, and everyone, it's not our game at all. So we like to use the Excel. Oh, it's not Excel. The Google sheet. Actually, there's a myriad of other roster tools out there. Like, and when it comes to tournaments, it really doesn't matter how you submit your tournament roster for one of our events. Okay, we're capped at 80, 100 people for the like the World Cup and stuff. It makes sense to have an online submission series because there's going to be 2,000 rosters. But for ours, actually, we're always kind of like, look, just get us your roster so we can make sure that it's as fair as possible ahead of time. We like to print out rosters so that everyone, again, is it's not like I've got my super secret list. I'm not telling you to the day of tournament. I'm not telling you if it's legal, and when my opponent asks, I might tell them the truth. Like, that's not how we want to play. We want to make this as easy as possible because actually we want Blood Bowl to be visible and on the pitch. So actually us providing that levels the playing field for those people who don't have printers. Like, we want to make sure that you can hand your roster to your opponent. So that's why we want the rosters in. We want to make sure that you got the right rules and that no one's been confused or made something different. What it does mean, and I think, Milton, you've kind of experienced this now as well, is that it works different for other people. Like, you may have a photocopy at the back of the rulebook and your roster goes on there. That's legit. Like, you may just send us a text file with, hey, this is what I'm running, this is my skill package. That's legit too. These are all like perfectly fine ways to play Blood Bowl. What it does mean is that when it comes to a tournament data process, you get a mixture of text, spreadsheets, PDFs saved of spreadsheets, pictures of copies of rosters, and it's really difficult. It's a lot of work to collate it all, and this is why I'm super glad that Milton's helping out in that way, because I love a database, guys. I mean, Ben, you're 40k and stuff like that. Who doesn't love net decking, right?
Yeah.
But it's really difficult in Blood Bowl because it's so, I want to say, feudal and independent and different. And I think that's part of its charm, is that every tournament is run differently. Every rules package is, generally speaking, different. And it also means that every player and the way they process things is different. But the game is always the same. But it means that, it's really difficult unless the tournament is built with a way of exporting and showing rosters. It's really difficult to track down what roster won a tournament. Like, it's even hard for us. Like, some of our past events, like, Beachhead's a great example, where we had, what do we have, like 80 for the Saturday and 50 for the Sunday? So that's 120 different rosters. There's probably about 60 different coaches, which means 60 slightly different ways of submitting a roster, and that's a ton of work to get that in a format that you can share. So it's just a case of it's too late, like we can't do it.
Yeah, it's definitely something we could look at to do for the just the winner though. Like to get the winning roster, I'm sure we can find that.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. A really good idea.
Yeah, no, I definitely think we can do that. I'll have a look into it.
Thanks, Milton.
Milton's the tech guy.
Yeah. It's doing a cracking job. Just wanted to finish by saying a huge thank you to all involved in the Bonehead Podcast, as well as the friends of the podcast, Ian Trips, Milton Lewis, Sam and Rick, to name but a few, but especially to BT and Ben for all their hard work and dedication to an operation that brings so much enjoyment to Blood Bowl fans everywhere. Keep up the good work, but Ben, don't work too hard. Here's to the next 100. Thanks. Awesome post. Thank you so much, dude. I haven't.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
As we're talking through this, guys, if there's something you want to add, please just jump in and just extrapolate. Blunt Brush highlight taking part in the shared love of Blood Bowl that we experience as a community, even if we're just able to listen to it. More Blood Bowl. I hear it's better that way. Less non-Blood Bowl related things.
Okay.
That's interesting. And random thought, where's our official Squig team? I feel we've been very patient. Dude, 20 points to whatever house you're in, Blunt Brush. We need that Squig team. Ben, you and I had a bet at the beginning of the year that it would be Slanesh or Slan or Squigs.
We both lost.
I think this is a draw.
Yeah, we still got a couple more months. You never know. Maybe Amazons get released and they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, also Slan.
Do you know what? I really like your Slanesh idea though. Like, that's just a team I would go out and buy. Yeah, the Slan replacement Slanesh with the pogo-y, long-leggy claw blitzers. Yes, please.
And a strength 5 edge, 2+, big guy with no hands.
Yeah.
God, that's terrifying, isn't it?
It'd be spicy though.
It would be.
With leap.
With leap, just this. What would it be? Like a Slanesh snake demon?
Yeah, it'd be one of the No, what they released them, the Beastmen, the Slangor.
Yeah, the Slangor.
Why would it have no hands? Because of claws.
Because the claws. It'd be like claw leap.
Right, Zoidberg.
Yeah.
Isn't that? Wasn't the Fumble Slanesh team? You ran that in one of our tournaments, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I think.
Didn't that?
You did, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you might have done.
You did, yeah. The Slanesh demon team.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
dude,
I've got the Super League up here. Let's do it. That's because I was looking at it before.
Yeah.
Slanesh teams. Yeah. No, wait, that's the Slave to Darkness one. It's Demons of Slanesh. Go with me. Demons, Slanesh. Yes, no, they had the Keeper of Secrets. Yeah, there. Strength 5, Edge 4. In the old days. Movement 7, Strength 5, Edge 4. That didn't have no hands, and it was absolutely obscene. It's 200k player.
That roster was ridiculous because this was back in the day where Leap was really good as well, wasn't it? Because those guys were like Edge 3, Edge 4 with Leap, which just meant it was 3+ or 2+, and you could just bamf around.
0 to 6 demonettes, all with Hypno Gaze, Claw, and Regeneration.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like I did play this, and I only played like a couple of games, and it felt disgusting, so I stopped.
Was it a league or was it a tournament? I think it might have been a 3-round tournament, maybe.
I think it might have been. I don't remember playing along.
Wasn't it one of the the Tombstone tournaments?
Oh, it might have been a Tombstone replacement during lockdown.
Wasn't a tabletop one.
Oh, it might have been Bonehead Bowl 2 then. Or Summer Sorcery.
It's too many.
Oh, I remember seeing you play it. I didn't play you.
I did coverage for that one, Ben.
I genuinely don't remember playing the games. Like, I only remember it now looking at it, but I don't remember what the games were like.
I feel like I streamed your game.
Might have done.
That must have been in lockdown. Man, that was great fun.
I don't think I know my Fumble login. I can't check.
Yeah, I've got like 6 Fumble accounts as well. So I'm like Bonehead Ben. I'm like, I don't know which email account I used for this. So now I'm Bonehead_Ben. Let's try this one for the 4th time. Yeah, no, I'm sure we did. That was great fun. We should do more Fumble, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It does look bad though, doesn't it?
Interesting subject. Sorry, on Blunt Brush's comment with less non-Blood Bowl related things. Sometimes we just ramble, and I think we like to keep it in. And so I think that's where it is. And then sometimes when it's like, we like to talk about the games we played. Often, often it's not Blood Bowl, but we still like talking about it because it's still like the hobby. And I think sometimes it can be good to take a break. But so I think we'll probably still continue to talk about non-Blood Bowl related things sometimes. But I do understand your comment. Blood Bowl podcast. Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's fun to know. Yeah. There will be an episode where it's not Blood Bowl.
Well, maybe we do at some point. Like that was kind of where Cursed City was going to go. I'm sorry to bring that up.
True. Yeah, it could be. It could be, but we'll still always do Blood Bowl. So yeah.
Yeah, no, we would always do the Blood Bowl. It's great stuff. Stuart Shelley, I love chill chat podcasts. They can bear fruit in so many unexpected places. Highlight people's short stories getting read out in the run up to Christmas.
Yeah, that was cool. I actually had an idea about that.
This is a good time to talk it through.
Yeah, no, so I was thinking it would be quite cool to have another little competition like that. Rather than the story just being like out of nowhere, the story should be a game you played, that you're like a particular element of a game that you played where something special has happened and you're like illustrating that in the story. Does that make sense?
Oh, that would be very cool.
So like, I went to a tournament and like I clinched like a last turn touchdown and just like write about the build up to that and like how like it could kind of be like how you felt, or it could be like from the perspective of the players or that kind of thing. And so that we get an element, like a flavor of your gameplay through that.
So kind of like a match report kind of thing? Is that what you're saying?
In a way, yeah. But like sort of narratively, like flavorful. I think that could be quite cool. Could be quite interesting because then we get to see some of, when you have those moments when you're playing the game and you're just like, no one's ever going to believe this. Like, I just like 2 die up, threw the ball on a 4-up, caught it, dodged through like 7 blitzers, and then did a GFI a rush into the end zone. Failed it, fumbled the ball to the guy that was next to me, and he caught it. And you'd like be really cool to see like to like hear people's games like where that kind of like crazy stuff happened.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that could be really fun, actually. Yeah, I don't know if I want to phrase it as like a competition, but it would be fun to hear submissions.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Yeah,
maybe that is something we could do. Is have another bit on the Discord where we could do like a not short story section, but something like that, and then we could occasionally read them out or something.
Oh yeah, I quite like that idea.
Okay,
Blood Bowl moments.
We could pick some highlights. Blood Bowl moments. That's great. Yeah. We could just pick up a few highlights.
Yeah, Ben, cool. You did run Slanesh. You went 2-1-1.
You found it.
Yeah, it was Bonehead Bowl 2. You ran Nurglings in Summer Sorcery.
Did I?
Apparently so.
Oh my god.
I've got a video of me streaming a game against you in Trips.
Alzheimer's is real.
So Bonehead Bowl 2 was tabletop, wasn't it?
No, Bonehead Bowl 2 was during the apocalypse.
Oh no, of course. Yeah.
And then Summer Sorcery 1 was where you played against Trips. He was running assassins and you were running Nurglings, and there was the dudes with guard.
Oh yeah, they were all like strength 1. They had like guard and stupid stuff. It was... Yeah, that was a really weird team. The Nurgling team.
The team called Triple Power Stab.
You streamed... Yeah, so Ben, you streamed the game, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I remember you playing it, because I was watching the stream.
Yeah. That was so
Holy
good.
Hell. Like, how did we forget that?
Man, lockdown was a blur.
It's so bizarre.
Lockdown was a blur.
Weird time.
I know. It's so funny, like, that we've been through all of this.
I don't remember playing games. Wow. Yeah.
It's wicked. I love that. More of anything with audience input, including guessing tournament winners, also Dungeon Bowl. Well, look, when it comes to audience input, this is what we're hoping that some of our tournament streams can kind of bring in. Because actually it'd be really cool during a game, you put up a poll, who's going to win this round, like stuff like that. I think it'll be really good fun. Random thought, more short story competitions. I have material. There we go. I think we might have to look at doing something like that. General Bedouin, the highlight, Bash or Dash, way up there. More post-mortems. It would be really cool to have a recorded game and go through it turn by turn to see which plays made the difference. Also, community events. Less hobby. I mean, it's fine. Sometimes very interesting, but more of a discussion person. That's a fair shout. I don't really have much, by the way, of suggestions. Just want to say congratulations on hitting 100 episodes. Thank you, Nick. Also always enjoy listening to the guys, even when you chat about Skaven. Man, I hate Skaven. Nick, this might not be the right podcast. Double dip, congratulations on 100. Found your channel when the leaks for Blood Bowl 2020 landed. I can't believe that was 2 years ago. No suggestions, just wanted to say thanks for the great content and keep up the good work. Random highlight was one of the live streams. It had epic adventure music and your neighbour's horse made a guest appearance.
Oh yeah.
That's right, Tiff came in and she was like, Ben, there's a horse in the driveway. That was a random like painting stream.
I don't know if that's a painting stream. I think it was just you, that one.
Or maybe I was playing Blood Bowl 2 or something.
I think it was. I think you were doing a video game. So I remember, I don't think I was there for the horse. Because you put in the chat, just had to go deal with a horse.
Yeah, I remember.
I was like, what?
Oh, yeah, the horse was called Lily and continued to do that for a couple of weeks. And then we haven't seen her since. So I'm assuming... well, I got glue anyway. So Ryan Griffiths...
Yeah, you built your next team.
Great horse resin. Maybe more tips on advanced strategies. This is Ryan, such as adjusting for a bad turnover. You get kicked to first, start the game, first block or ball pickup results in a turnover and loss of the reroll. Well, been there. Ball goes out of bounds and does something stupid, etc. That's interesting. Like disaster management in Blood Bowl. I feel like we've got that covered though with some of the Bonehead Championship games. We definitely demonstrate some good Blood Bowl and some very bad Blood Bowl in those, which is...
more the latter, I think.
Yeah, it's really fun to just bait Ben with hack phlegm. I've got to say, though, Mill, you are a very tight player. Like, playing these sevens games, like, I will Leroy Jenkins something every now and again, and Ben will do the same. And you're just, like, consistently, like, it's good. It's really good to have you on the channel for that very reason.
I'm trying to work up to that. Like, I'm trying to build up to that. I would never profess myself to be good at the game because I still make decisions where I'm like, and I'm just going to do this now. There's no logic, rhyme, or reason to it. I just feel like it.
It's so tempting, isn't it? And I think that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, is how this is a place for people who love great stories. And Blood Bowl, Blood Bowl League, Blood Bowl Crazy Rules create insanely good stories. And set piece matchups in the same format that's been played 1,000 times was where we landed, and that was old Blood Bowl. Now we're in the new place where it's new and different, and every game is a new story. And I think sometimes we get a little bit carried away by, oh yes, but if I do make that, what a story, you know? If I do take the bad dodge and go for the blitz and it works, legend. And I think that, Ben, you're smiling. I can see that this is your game plan for.
Yes. All this.
Oh, I love it.
Time.
Okay, Longan999, congratulations, guys. A suggestion for general chitty chat chillness. Okay, that's our next topic sorted. I also love the alliteration. There's a section there. Someone make me an intro video. What can we all do to grow the player base? What are the best ways to introduce new players to the best things about Blood Bowl? What are your favourite things about Blood Bowl? How can you show that off? Can Blitz Bowl or some of the micro variant please invent? Be used in the pub, lunch break, coffee shop, library to quickly demo the marriage of thrills and heartbreak that makes this game so great. I've only been playing the last few years, but I've fallen pretty hard in love with this game and really love what you do with the podcast / channel. Keep up the great work. Big props from Down Under. Cheers, Longan. Okay, guys, what can we do to grow the player base?
Well, that's a really interesting question. So, like, how did both of you get into Blood Bowl? Like, what appealed to you? Like, how did you come into the game?
I got into it twice. So I got into it because when I grew up, I spent a lot of time with my cousin Clive, who was very much into Warhammer. So I grew up and was very much into Warhammer. So he had all the stuff, and I was like 5 or 6. And on my 6th or 7th Christmas, my mum and dad bought Blood Bowl 2nd edition and Epic Space Marine off him and gave them to me for Christmas. And this was the old foam pitch, right? So this must have been 93, 94, 95. So I kind of got into Blood Bowl and Warhammer at that point. Wasn't really sure what the heck I was doing. And then discovered the NFL maybe 10 years later, dug out the Blood Bowl stuff and dug out the CRP. So this must have been about 2004. And me, Craig, Ian, Lewis, we started playing Blood Bowl with all the teams that we had back then. And then carried on. Like when Craig went to uni, I used to drive over on a Sunday afternoon, grab him from his uni halls, bring him back home. Grandma would make us a roast and make sure that Craig ate properly, and then we'd play 2 or 3 games of Blood Bowl while watching the NFL. And I'd drop him off back at uni at like 2 a.m. every week.
Sounds awesome.
And then Blood Bowl was great. And then we moved into Magic the Gathering for a bit as a club, like as a group of guys. We had Monday Magic, and then because alliteration, and then 2016 Blood Bowl came back. We started playing that. Then Ian introduced some other people. We started building up the club, and kind of 2016 landing back was just the best thing. Like, because it was just super cool. It was accessible, and so I kind of got into it twice. Once when I was young because of Clive, and then really kind of watching Brett Favre play a hell of a NFL game the night after his dad died, and then that got me to bust out my 2nd edition humans and paint them in Green Bay Packer colours. To this day, that's Buzz Justice. I have him in my Skaven team, that's how I got into it. Ben?
For me, my first Blood Bowl exposure was from, I don't know if you guys ever used to watch them, but like, do you remember Total Biscuit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when his like channel thing was like with the Game Station back in the day, then it was Co-optional Podcast. They used to do a couple of these Blood Bowl tournaments, and they were amazing. They were so funny. Like they just descend into absolute carnage. And I watched it. I had no idea what Blood Bowl was. I had no idea what the game was doing. But like, because I watch these content creators, like they were really good, and that got me into it. And then a while later, I was just selling some miniatures online to Saxby, and happened to be in the local area. And he was like, "Yeah, come down to our club." And I came down to the club, and it was all mainly Blood Bowl. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. Because for me, I think what gets me into playing a game is that people are playing the game. It doesn't really matter what the game is, as long as people are playing it. That tends to be why I go for it. At least try it, and tried it and really liked it. And so it's not a massively long story, but got into it through the video game, not playing the video game, just watching the video game. Unlike Warhammer, where I got into from playing the video game, which is Dawn of War. I think video games are pretty good for getting people into the hobby.
They really, really, really are. And this is something that Tiff has kind of bandied about. She's like, "Oh, I like to maybe learn a bit more Blood Bowl." Obviously, we played that game as sevens when we were on holiday a couple of years ago. But she was like, "What's the best way to learn?" And I was like, "Honestly, this is what you've said before, Ben. It's like playing the tutorial is a really good way to do it. Because it does break down the rules. Obviously, those rules are out of date now, so you have to wait for Blood Bowl 3 to land, which I don't know when that's going to be, but I do like how it's shaping up. How about you, Milt?
Yeah, so actually that's really interesting, and I think this answers the question really well. So for me, like I've been playing Games Workshop games since I was 10 or something. Like it's been years, and I've kind of been on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, and I'd pack the whole lot in. And yeah, like the place where I work, Craig came in as a new colleague, as you've mentioned Craig before. And he invited me down to the club with you guys, and he was kind of explaining to me what Blood Bowl was. And it's like I knew what Blood Bowl was because I heard about it, but I'd never played it, and I kind of gone sports, not really me. But you know, like what? Couple of things here. So what you said, BT, a moment ago was about it's about the community, it's about the players. So if you've got a club of people that are interested, it's instantly going to attract other people to come and play. So to answer your question, one way, if you've got that community environment, that local community environment, you've got people playing and you invite someone to come along in, they're more likely to be interested into coming back because it creates that enthusiasm, that environment, that sort of that culture. And so, yeah, so I came down to play and yeah, like this game's great, but like I don't really understand it. So the first thing I went out and did was buy the video game because there was like a Steam sale on, and I played the video game quite a bit because it took me a real long time to wrap my head around like what the hell this game was about, because I was like, so I'm trying to get the ball over here, but these guys are just like beating me up over here, and I don't know. I was genuinely, I was struggling to wrap my head around the basic rules. I played through the tutorial, and yeah, I think the video game makes it very accessible. So if you've got someone who's kind of interested in the game but isn't sure, go on Steam on a Steam sale. I suspect it's. I mean, there's probably one up there.
£3.50 probably.
Yeah, £3.50. Grab the video game and like play the tutorial, and you get to try all of the different teams out, and kind of wrap your head around the game, because there's always that initial thing, isn't there? There's that learning curve when you take on a new game, and you kind of have that like a bit of anxiety about not knowing the rules and trying to not like hold the game up, and you want to have like a good time and everything with the person you're playing with. And so I think that the video game is a really good place to start in order to help kind of build your confidence in playing the game and get you into it and joining into that tabletop community.
And even though Blood Bowl 2 is old rules, and the AI is questionable, you can get to grips with, I think, 95% of everything that's on Blood Bowl, and then the online community is still really strong for Blood Bowl 2. And if BB3 wasn't just around the corner, we'd probably be spending more time in that, but it is old rules. So there is a bit of a transition, but actually some of the best Blood Bowl is still out there to be played. And like Milton said, all the teams are there.
Or Fumble.
Well,
Fumble's a little bit less accessible, but
Fumble is an interesting one. I think it's harder to play Blood Bowl with. That's not fair. Once you're in the groove, Fumble's a doddle.
Yeah,
I think the learning curve is significantly higher.
Yeah,
than tabletop. But if you don't want to go through the Blood Bowl 2 thing, then guys, back me up here if you do agree or disagree. Blood Bowl 7s, I think, is a really great way to get brewing.
Yeah, I mean, it goes in the second part of this guy's question, which I kind of wanted to address, where it's saying, can Blitz Bowl or some of the micro variant be used in the pub, lunch break, coffee shop, library to quickly demo the marriage of thrills and heartbreak? Yeah, absolutely. So only a few weeks ago, I was teaching a friend of mine who's big into Warhammer, big painter. Shout out Tech Priest Ward is his Instagram. He's got a big Instagram. Yeah, he really wanted to learn Blood Bowl. And so we were there in Bugman's Bar with a pint each, playing on the edge of the table with the cardboard pitch folded. So it's in sort of like 8 segments, just the 2 segments on the end of the table, and I was just teaching him through what I've done a couple of times now, where it's like a video game tutorial. So, you know, here's how you move, here's how you block, here's how you do this, and then like little mini scenarios. Then it was kind of like chess scenarios where I just sort of positioned random players and I said, get the ball from there to here. And then knowing what you know, try and do it. And it worked really well. And he was there just being like, this is great. And now he's bought a dwarf team.
Amazing.
So I clearly failed somewhere.
Saw him wrong.
But yeah.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah.
That is really, really, really sweet.
You absolutely can. And it took like, 15, 20 minutes on the end of a table.
There was, we did brew up some rules for doubles Blood Bowl. Just kind of prior to the apocalypse, where you play on one half of the pitch, but it's 5 aside, or use the same rules and then you play doubles with it. Maybe we'll have to bust them out, but that could be interesting. But honestly, like Ben's talking about, set piece plays, going into sevens or Blood Bowl 2. As to growing the community, growing the player base, I think the best thing you can do is, like I think you both said, is, you know, it's like the infamous baseball movie quote, build it and they will come. Well, generally speaking, if you set up a league or set up a tournament, you'll find some players. And I think it's about having that availability, being there, being consistent. Like, can I get a game of Blood Bowl in here? Yes, you can. I can always get a game of Blood Bowl here. Brilliant. Therefore, it grows, and we've seen it from Wobble. Like, we boomed, then we busted because of the apocalypse, and now I think we're back to booming again. We've got 20-something teams in the league, you know, and it's only going to get better, I think. And having that availability and that consistency, I think, is probably the biggest thing in there. And then, you know, hopefully making some entertaining videos might help, or showing some tournaments and stuff like that might help. And this is my personal kind of, what I really hope for is, if we can start streaming events, it might make those events seem more important. Like, I have very little interest in AOS. It ebbs and flows as like a tangential, like, this is interesting. But when Ian goes to a tournament, the first thing I ask him is, is it going to be streamed? And that is just such a huge part of where we are now in the world, and also in miniature gaming culture. Is 40k in AOS, is it going to be streamed? Well, you look on YouTube for tabletop Blood Bowl, and it is far and few between. And quite frankly, it is really difficult to present Blood Bowl well in a digital format, because one semi-side-on overhead camera from a C920, if you know Blood Bowl, it's fine. If you don't know Blood Bowl, it's not fine, should we say. And actually, that's the easiest and best way to do it. And it's taken us a while. And unfortunately, the shaky cam is back. Hopefully, it's a little bit better. But actually, Ben and I solved the heck out of it at one point. But
that was fun.
There are going to be a few games where the shaky cam is back for 7 Super Series. But it's challenging to film a game of Blood Bowl well. It's challenging to film tabletop games well. And my, mini wargaming and Guerrilla Miniatures games, they do a good job of it, but they're massive. Like, mini wargaming is like a massive company, and GMG he has full-time
access
job
to more time than I think most humans do.
Yeah. And it's,
I don't understand how he does as much as he does.
Yeah. So I think having that extra spark to it, that extra bit of substance, like, I find that building a community and building it is all about, and it's kind of goes into warp theory here a bit, guys. It's like a manifest purpose, a manifest reality bubble that is created by a group of people believing something is important. It then becomes important. It becomes, genuinely, it becomes its own reality. And the more important everyone thinks something is, the more important it really is. And I don't know whether that's just because I've been in corporate business for 20 years, and I'm telling you, there are some things that people think are important that are not important at all, but everyone thinks they're important, therefore they're important. Well, actually, let's use that power for good and make this fun game important and fun. And the best way to get the game out there, best way to spread it and build a great community, is to play the game. That's all you got to do. Just play the game. because it is fun. The game will do itself. But
Definitely.
I think it's probably a great way of saying that. We'll do a couple more YouTube stuff, and then, guys, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll do a little bit of the Discord ones, if that's all right with you both.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
We've got to get this one here from Richard Alderson. Highlight: finding out you guys were local. So Richard's the chap who's running the Dark Elves in the league. Heck of a player. More games being played, please. Less anything that feels like a chore. If it starts to feel like work, it's not hobby anymore. That is.
I have to keep remembering that.
Yeah. Random thought.
We keep reminding each other about that one as well, for sure.
A little self-help group is very useful.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'd love to have an interview with the guys organising the World Cup. We've done it. We were straight on it.
We did.
And there's a load of great other stuff. Can you use some segments?
I do want to pick up on.
Go.
James Mackey, do the podcast Blind Drunk and play a game of Blitz Bowl.
Oh, dude. I've got Blitz Bowl in the boot of my car. We can absolutely
do that. Yeah. That would be good fun.
Maybe when you're back from your holidays.
Yeah, that sounds good.
More Sevens content. Bash or Dash, 7 Super Series. I think we're seeing some pretty good stuff there. Do the podcast Blind Drunk and play a game of Blitz Bowl. You should have some special BHPC 100 dice made up and use them for giveaways. That will do. That will do. That's genius. That's brilliant. Doing Ogre 7s, it will be quick, and tell me who you give the ball to. It's either Ogres or Khemri coming out tomorrow, so by the time this podcast airs, that should be there. More Goblins. I'd like to see 1150 specific lists. Yeah, as a fair shout. Obviously, our tournament ones, we do 1100 and 1120 and 1200, because it kind of covers both ends of it. So, sadly, 1150 specific lists, well, all the 1100 ones are applicable. You just get to add a bit more, and all the 1200 ones are applicable because you just need to tweak it down a bit. So it's awkward because I've kind of double dipped in those. But awesome stuff. Thank you all for some great comments. We will take a quick break, and then we'll have a look at the Discord. And we're back. Now, we are in the Bonehead Podcast Discord now. Link below. Come join us and say hello. And I put the same post up here, and we've got some brilliant comments. We've replied to some of them as we're going along, but thought it'd be worthwhile just going through. And same thing applies, because it's really fun to talk this through. Drew Blood was straight in there. Drew Blood is a regular at our tournaments, regular painting winner at our tournaments, and does some great commission work, actually. You will probably have seen Drew's stuff if you're on the Blood Bowl community. Just really, really good work. First comment in there was, how about letting us know which is the best thrower in the game? I feel like you haven't told us before.
That's a good topic, actually. Yeah, I think we should cover that.
That's not nobility thrower or chameleon skink. You choose. I love this. I did say that maybe you should live stream a 4-player Dungeon Bowl game. Actually, there's probably some feature matches we could do with doing, because, like, Ben, we played those random sevens games on my birthday stream. I think a couple of people have mentioned it as well in the comments. It was really good fun. I wonder if, like, this is me, you guys are brilliant at supporting me, but I tend to not necessarily focus too big, but like that whole importance thing. I'm like, one-off games, no one cares about one-off games. It's got to be part of a story. It's got to be part of a series. I think that's me. What's it called when you put your own stuff on other people? Because come on,
what's delegating?
No.
Oh, I know the word. I know the word you're on about. But I can't think of it.
Impressioning. Can't remember. Well, I'm like imagining basically my thoughts, and then I'm just presenting them onto other people. Because I'm like, with NFL, if they just played a random one-off game, I couldn't care less about it. But if it's part of a story, if it's part of a series, and that game has importance, well, then I'm interested and bought in. And I think I have the same hang-up when it comes to Blood Bowl. But I think maybe I need to change up how I feel about stuff like that, and be okay to be like, hey, you want to play a game of Blood Bowl? Pick a team. We'll pick a team, and we just play it. We just live stream.
Well, let's start it with that drunk Blitz Bowl thing, because if you're drunk, you can't film it anyway. So, yeah.
Well, how about, right? I'm just. We can talk about this. How about in maybe like in the next Dungeon Bowl series or something we do, we can keep it in the narrative. So like after the first 4 games or something, those 4 teams have a 4-player Dungeon Bowl game if we could organise that with the results kind of carrying through.
There's definitely some cool stuff we could do.
Also, when the Mud and Blood Pictures Kickstarter comes out,
yes,
we will have access to what Death Bowl?
Yep,
yeah,
Death Bowl.
And
Death Bowl 7s, man. I think
Street Bowl.
Street Bowl's interesting. I think we played some Street Bowl on the channel using Roll20 during the apocalypse. Street Bowl.
Oh, don't tell me I was there for that, because I definitely don't remember that one.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah. It's interesting.
We did that role playing thing as well, didn't we? That was cool.
I loved that. That role playing game was wicked. The Blood Bowl RPG.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I remember that one. I wasn't even in it.
Oh, just black out, Ben.
I feel like I'm a different person. Am I Sam?
It's been a long
Sam
time.
Garner.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Actually, we should definitely do that. And I wonder if we use the Amazon launch as an opportunity to just do a couple of random live games, just to get a couple of games in or something. And then, like you guys said, we could do a big Dungeon Bowl game. We can do a big Death Bowl 7s game. Death Bowl 11s, I don't know if I'd want to do that. Death Bowl 7s, that'd be all right. Like Death Bowl 11s, I feel like is the TI 3 of Blood Bowl. And I don't know how much fun that would be to watch.
Yeah.
I love that. Smalley, I think some general play style breakdowns for each team would be super helpful. That's good. Yeah, that's a good shout. What else have we got going on here? Dice calculators. Talk about them on the podcast sometimes. That's an interesting one.
Is that like odds calculators?
Yeah, odds calculators.
I need to do this all the time. I wouldn't say that's cheating at all.
I've never seen anyone do that though.
I do that in my head.
I know you do.
But I don't know if that's...
You think in data though.
I think in spreadsheet, yeah.
Whoa.
I don't think it's cheating. I mean, Blood Bowl 2 has it built in.
I don't think it's cheating, but if it's obstructing the game in some way, as in like you spent the last like 10 minutes like on your phone trying to work out what the best odds are, then
yeah. I think actually
please don't do that.
Drew, someone cracked out a great reply to that, which is I'd probably insist on time turns. Otherwise, I don't mind if they want to waste their time by tapping in numbers instead of playing the game. I actually think that's fair enough. If you've got a 4 minute timer and you spend 2 minutes doing the maths and 2 minutes doing the actions, it's your time.
Yeah, very fair.
I like that. Papa Z.
I'm going to react to that.
I love this one. Highlight, coming down to play at Beachhead, meeting you guys and playing my first actual Blood Bowl games. It was so cool to meet Papa Z in person as well. More of, love the actual games and tournaments. Maybe involving more people in the community would be good, but I love it however you guys do it. I'm not going to lie, dude. That's what we're doing, right? We want to start streaming games at tournaments so we can get other players in. I joined the Entoyment League to kind of trick more players into partaking in some of our games, and then in the future, when we can afford a Bonehead studio, then we can kind of get more players in. At the moment, because we're filming in my house or Ben's house.
Can I give the funny anecdote?
Yeah, go.
So we were talking about this. We're talking about this whole studio thing, and we had a bit of chat last week where it was like we started looking at places of, where could I actually do this? Like, could we actually do this? Like, is this something we could afford? Is this a good idea? And we're having this chat, and I was looking at these places, and I saw one, and they had this like virtual tour thing, and I was going through checking out the room sizes. But they had like the room sizes, but they didn't say like sort of the pricing of each one. I kind of wanted to know that, so I started putting in my details in a quick chat thing to maybe do like an online chat. So all I wanted to do was just ask a quick question. And then we had a bit more of a chat, and then we just thought, that's just partless for now. It's not something that we're going to do anytime soon. It's not a good idea. But it's not a bad idea, but it's just not something that we can do feasibly. And later that day, I got a call, and it was from the place, like the business center where they have all these rooms. They were just like, hey, yeah, I saw you put your details. So just wanted to discuss details. And I completely panicked. I don't know what happened. I panicked. Like, I play a lot of D&D. There is no excuse for being so unprepared. And I was just like, yeah, sure. Okay. That's great. Yeah. I'm looking for something for about, 5-6 people, all with computers. I don't know where that came up. And I think I made up a business in my mind, like some kind of tech startup. And I had to be just like, oh, yeah, no, that's all good. Yeah, sort of internet speeds and yeah, all of that. And then she started sending out the pricing, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll have to chat with my business partner about that. I just somehow role played someone else, and I was just so badly. She seemed convinced, but anyway, I'm gonna get a call later this week to discuss further because I couldn't say no
for the viewing. And next thing we know, Ben's got ourselves a Bonehead studio.
Yeah. So studio by the next podcast.
6 people on their desktops.
Yeah, and I don't know how I'm going to afford energy this winter. I'm paying for a studio as well.
We'll have to do a GoFundMe just for that.
Oh. Yeah, help Ben because he got himself into a terrible situation.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, the story is that for now we can't get a studio because, Tiff and I rent basically, so we're saving up. We're nearly there, and we're looking to buy a house early next year. And taking on a contracted premises license might hamper the finances behind it. But once we've got a house, we'll see. We'll see. We don't know. I'd love a studio. Every time we film, guys, we have to set up all the stuff. And we could, and this is what the crux is. If we had a studio, we could film twice as many games because we wouldn't have to spend, we have 4 hours to film a game. The first hour and the last hour basically setting up and moving around, isn't it? Like even when we film the Sevens game, guys, it's a case of right, okay, let's get the player cam one. Let's move around the table. Let's set it. If we just had the gear all set up, we could go. And that's kind of what we'd like to do in the future. But that's next year's problem. We're doing a good job slowly getting there with what we're doing already. So, if we can get tournaments on the go, then that's one more thing. Love that. Less worrying about commitments. Do what you prefer. That's awesome. Random thought. Online tournament when? Milton, you and I were talking kind of about this, weren't we?
Yeah, we've had a couple of discussions around this. I think it'd be great. I don't know whether
it would be
a tournament or a league. I think we'll have to have a think about that and see how that plays out. But yeah, definitely excited to get something up online for tournament because I know we've got a lot of Bonehead fans out there who aren't in the UK, sort of don't have access to coming to the tournaments or sort of getting involved locally. So it'd be really great to have the wider global international Blood Bowl Bonehead community kind of come and play and get to meet some
I think it would be
some other coaches.
We had a lot of fun doing it before. I think it's just a case of how we fit into the schedule of the world, but I think we can definitely do it. We should definitely do it. Right, what else we got? Hearing stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's about the calculator. Personal highlight of the channel so far was your birthday sevens game. There we go. Had a great time watching the chat. My wife was away and the kids were in bed, so it was great to have people to talk to while having a few beers. Also, the fact I made a throwaway comment about getting the updated star player rankings was turned into an entire video. That was very cool. That birthday stream was great fun, Ben. That
was really good. That felt just wild. I think I felt drunk to that one.
It was just nonsense. It was good.
It was just really nonsense. Yeah.
And even when you were like, "Oh, dude, let's just bust out Dungeon Bowl teams for sevens."
Yeah. Why not?
Hilariously, that was probably one of the easiest stream setups we've used as well.
It was, wasn't it? It just went really smoothly.
That was brilliant fun.
Really odd. Yeah.
See, if we had a studio, we could just be like, "Hey, let's do a live stream Thursday." Ben, stop it. Again, no, I can't. Important to have a house. Whip Wednesday coming back is a big thing. I've already talked about my issues with that this morning. Well, this afternoon. I was upset. I went to edit it and I was like, oh, good. Really good. Really like sevens content. Roster videos are always worth a watch. I like third-party team videos. I think that's something that I'm really enjoying, that series of top fives at the moment, because you guys are showing me teams that I've not really looked at, and it's really important to see like what else is out there for Blood Bowl. Stevie, the scientist. My highlight is, of course, winning the big guy competition, but honestly, I've loved all of them except the painting one. Sorry, but I can't paint. Not true, dude. I've seen your Whip Wednesday stuff. You can paint, and you can paint at speed. I would say more sevens content, but that's coming. Maybe an episode on sevens tiers, maybe with a guest who collects data on such things. Stevie, this is 100% going to happen. You requested some teams, and at least one of them will be granted to you for the stream. So you needed some more data for some of those teams, and actually Triplo is on board with that. A second is less worrying about us and doing the content you enjoy. Randomly, I do miss the old transition music in the podcast. Can that make a return, please? Yeah. There was
is that like between segments?
Yeah, but I replaced it with like advertisements for the tournaments and stuff. But actually, I can just change the music if I can find the music. Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I remember that tune.
Yeah.
I love that. Honestly and unhelpfully, thank you so much for the content. Dude, brilliant. I want to say thank you because I love painting and I can't believe it. Highlights for me, having a podcast like this where league buddies are geeking out about the game. Tick. I think we love a good geek out sesh. Really enjoy your Secret League team coverage because no one else does it. There you go, guys. More Secret League.
Yeah, I really want to bring Secret League back, but probably just because I've done really well with the Secret League.
Do you think that is because it is very much in that unsolved territory?
Maybe.
Possibly, but like also a little bit because maybe I don't like. There's this weird thing where like if I play a game where I don't necessarily have as much investment in it, I generally do better. That makes sense. So like the teams that I play like quite regularly, I'm quite invested in as like a coach.
I see what you
doing
mean.
well with it. And I'm like, maybe I just overanalyze or like overthink the situation. Whereas when I've been presented with playing the secret teams, I'm like, I have no idea how any of these work. So I'm just going to like explore and play. And I feel like there's like an enjoyment to that, a different enjoyment. And that's led to quite a lot of success.
Let me mute Discord. I think we're getting some stuff. Yeah, that's a fair one. I mean, it's interesting because you play League and you play Constructed very differently. Like Rick loves Constructed because he's like, I just don't care. I can do whatever with my elves and they're coming right back. And it is kind of liberating. League is interesting because you are sometimes League or the teams you have got a personal investment in winning with, you kind of play differently. You play more defensive, you play more like protectively, I think. Unless you're 3+ Mr. Dodge over there with Skaven lineman.
Hey, are you calling me out?
Hey, it works.
Sorry, I was looking at these comments and I pick up on that.
It works. This is very, very cool. Random bit, you've inspired me to try a large secret team solo league with retained stars, and it kicks off as soon as I have the Amazon book in hand. DTM 1212. Yes, that is awesome. That's full Bonehead. You've gone full Bonehead. I love these little dudes. I don't know what's good. Let's just give you a sparkly heart. This is Praxic. Highlight the wizard competition, mainly because I was a runner-up, and the roster development videos. More of design competitions, hobby competitions, and discussions about optimal team build, skill choices, the really noodly nitpicky stuff. I feel like that'll be the Bonehead Basics episodes, won't it, Ben?
Yeah. I think we are starting to come back to that now. I think we did this Skaven one. Was that the only one that we done?
Yeah. Well, it's the right place to start. Random thought: imagine a community-compiled death zone of house rules. Oh, I like that.
We've talked about that so many times as well. We need to get on and do that.
It's just a lot of work. T-Sticks. I really enjoyed the birthday vid with the game and interaction with chat. As Gaz said, it was a really social event, perhaps harder to do logistically, but it was all great fun. It was easier to do. It's the easiest. I think it was the easiest thing. It's just, that's funny. I had a great time. Maybe we'll have to start doing some more of that. It's difficult though, because like I would film all of our games like that, but there's such a strong request for the point of view games that it's really interesting. There's such a huge divide between that. POV is way more immersive, isn't it? It's really way more immersive.
Definitely. Yeah. And there's like a noticeable difference, I feel, when you're watching the game.
The story's deeper.
It'll be good to try this weekend with the streams.
Yeah.
It'll be good to try and get this kind of like balance between interaction and kind of like immersion into the game. We're going to be trying all sorts of things. It's going to be very experimental. But I definitely echo. I definitely can understand this. And Evan's game was really good with the interaction. It felt like it was like a spectator sport. When we're recording the games, it doesn't really feel like that until it's gone out, and then you get the comments. When you're recording, you're kind of focused on just like, right, is that the camera okay? And is what I'm doing okay? Whenever I play it, what I'm doing is never okay. But it's
just don't bang the table.
Hey, if I had a studio, leaning on the table would be fine.
Oh, I'd bang it.
Milton was so good. It was like you've both been so accommodating. The shaky hand cam, although we have solved the heck out of it now, but it was difficult. So I was like, well, I'll put it on the table and there's less shake. But then because of my dining room table, it's one of the ones where it folds out. So like you pull it out and then the middle bit comes up and it's a big table. But because of it, it's kind of made of wishes. So if you like breathe in, the table moves. And so if you put your arm on it like this to think or pick up dice or something, then it moves. So it's like, well, I've got shaky hand cam, or I'll put it down and it's, earthquake cam. It's a really interesting one. But, Milton was like, no worries, I will not lean on the table. And he didn't until he got to a really thinky bit and then just picked up his dice and started knuckling at the table. Which was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
he didn't lean on it; he just beat the hell out of it.
Yeah, I just started smacking it with my dice.
I thought he was doing it on purpose. It was so good.
Ben just looking at me like, "What are you doing?"
I do genuinely think that the funny thing is because of the way we've ordered the games. The new version is just kind of going to splice into some of the weeks, but I think it's a noticeable improvement. And I got to use one of my new camera toys, so that was quite cool.
Yeah, I'm really glad you fixed that.
That's
great.
I'm psyched with what we figured out how to do.
I think how we felt mid game. He was like, "This is it.
Why don't we do this? Just happen to have this thing here." Whip is great. I think it could be incorporated into the podcast. That's interesting. Yeah, birthday one is a great one there. Less vids and more stress. Everyone's been so wonderful here. Milton, bash or dash for me. If in doubt, bash it out. But bash or dash is like so popular. It's so funny. Best thing is print to pitch. Do more direct comparisons to Games Workshop models. Yeah. I need to be better at having them to hand when I do print to pitches, but it could be really difficult because all of a sudden it could be like, and Brute Fun has all of a sudden done this team. And I'm like, I have no idea where that team is. Like, it's somewhere here in the studio. I've probably got two of them. I don't know where it is. Frog made a really fair comment. So do less YouTube/filler sentences that repeat in every video. So, for example, if you're playing Sevens League, the rules will be from Death Zone and you get random skills. He's like, yeah, but you go through it, which means when you watch the same series, it gets a bit samey. That is fair. But the problem is with some of these videos is that it may be the only one you watch. So it's tough. I apologize, but
we could do one of these things where it's like, you don't know what Evans is. We've got a video on it here. We have the thing in the top.
I think that's the thing I say at the beginning of all of the videos.
That's
one of the things. No, it's a really fair shout.
You even have your finger. Don't you? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I don't actually link the video, but yeah. It's good stuff. Any other good comments you guys have seen?
I mean, all of them.
It's difficult to go through. There's a lot of comments about Whit Wednesday, and we've had quite a lot of discussions about Whit Wednesday, haven't we? And I think, like I said to you guys a little while back, I was quite dismissive of Whit Wednesday. I was like, is Whit Wednesday that popular? And I was really surprised about the feedback. And I know how much effort you put into those videos. And I think it's been really nice kind of hearing all of those comments. I think it's been hilarious to see the sort of meme that's been generated around it disappearing.
Oh, Rip Wednesday. I know.
Yeah. And no, but it's really interesting what was sort of said up there a moment ago around how like having that kind of from a hobby aspect to this, because obviously we talk a lot about like gameplay and that kind of thing. And there's two elements to this, isn't there? Because there's a hobby side to this where people just love like making miniatures, like printing their miniatures, painting them, and doing all that kind of stuff. And the play is important, but it's almost like secondary. And then you get people that have the play as the kind of the main reason to be into it. And so there's obviously a community for that, and it's been really, really nice to kind of see all the feedback around that. And yeah, as Ben said, it's coming back. So
having it in the Discord was much easier as well, because Wednesday takes about an hour to prep and then an hour to film, so it can be difficult to fit into a schedule, because you've got to download all the pictures. Sometimes it's sent in Google format, sometimes it's not sent in Google format, and it's like I have to sort of, some of it I can right click and open in a new window. Some of the file formats just download instead, which means I've got to fit it. It's just finicky. Having them in the Discord was great because it meant I did this, like I've got on the screen right now, filtered through. Oh, this is cool, this is this person. Oh, this is cool, this is this person. And it was noticeably different, the amount of time I spent prepping in the emails versus this. So if we can get most of it in the Discord, then Wednesday will be really, really, really good to do. And another, because if I can get it like that, then it doesn't need any editing, which means I could, in theory, either record it in one go or just live stream it on a Wednesday, which I think would be really, really, really cool. But if it's taking time to prep, then I don't have the kind of, I mean, you guys know this, like the effort it takes to set up a live stream, to make it go live, to make sure your chat's linked in. But that's kind of where I'd like to go with it. It is actually a 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, live 5:30 on a Wednesday, live stream with Wednesday for 45 minutes. Like, here's the submissions, this is what we've got, this is what we've got. That'd be, I think, a really good way to do it if we can get there. The Discord, which was a great shout from you, Ben, to set that feed, was a lot easier to go through. But I mean, I just need to do a better job of doing the prep. But it's difficult because it's like, well, I can spend half an hour prepping that, or I can spend half an hour doing a sevens video. It's like, well, it's a tough one. But Tiff's going to help me with some editing soon, so I'll have have a little bit more time to do that stuff, which is wicked. Couple of other good things here. Orkster, I love Orkster. Does some outrageously good painting. Brought a Slan team to Beachhead, which was amazing to see. He said that I enjoyed attending Beachhead this year and I hope to come next year as well. Wednesday's always great for inspiration. Look forward to the live streaming. Perhaps the team can let us know their favourite and least favourite teams to play with and against. I hate playing against Chorfs. Who wants to start us with this one?
Over to you, Milt.
Oh, really? Okay. Favorite teams to play with?
It's got to be Orc, right?
Well, yeah. For me, it's my Orcs. Like, they were the first team that I played. They're the team that I've spent the most time playing, and they're the team I enjoy. And actually, I had a really good conversation with Wayne, tournament winner Wayne, and Rick from the
Bruces.
The Bruces, yeah, around the Orc team, and it's really interesting to hear their opinions on it. And what Wayne was saying was, like he rates it as like one of the best teams in the game, just because it's a great defensive team that has the capability of offense, and it's just like a general all-round team. And in terms of tournament play and stuff, there's so many kind of different ways you can kind of go with it as well. I think particularly now that we've got access to newer star players, and I suspect we'll get some more in the future, that only has made that better. So yeah, I think Orcs definitely for me. But as of late, I've definitely tried to branch out a bit more, try and play a few other teams. And we've discussed a couple of times, haven't we, about the passing game. I know BT has quite the enthusiasm for the passing game, and
what? It's good. It wins you games.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a huge shift in the meta, haven't we, towards people playing more bashy teams. About there's been a lot of talk around the bashy teams kind of coming out trumps of the season 2 change, but I think it's kind of left people very dismissive of that passing game. And now that I'm starting to look at it and analyze it and see what people are doing with the passing game, I have this enormous enthusiasm to get involved with that at the moment. So I'm really looking forward to the tournament that we're kind of coming up to kind of seeing some Parsy play rosters come in, hopefully. And I will be keeping a keen eye on those games and just seeing how they play out because, I'd really like to get. I don't know what team I'd pick, but I'd really like to get a passing sort of play team. Teams that I don't like to play against. That's difficult. I don't know. Dwarves. I think that's just like it's like
easy answer.
Like the easy answer, isn't
very
it?
fair answer.
In fact, I don't know. The dwarf one's a bit strange, isn't it? Because like dwarves and chores get quite a lot of stick for being quite difficult to play against, and that's just because of the starting skills and stuff. But I think it really depends on the format. It depends on the coach. It depends on what you're playing.
Yeah, I was going to say that, dude. Because dwarves seems to be the easy one, and let me tell you, if I'm playing Skaven, dwarfs are the team I don't want to play against. Not because I'm going to lose the game, but because I'm going to lose players to my next game.
Yeah.
So in a league, I think definitely dwarves, because you just know you're going to be down players for the next game. Like beating dwarves is fine, and that's why we don't see them do top in. Well, they're not bad in tournaments, not by a long shot, but they always do pretty well, but not the best, because actually you can win against dwarves, but it's going to cost you. And in league, that's a massive thing. And then I think what happens is you play a different way in league because you want to protect your team for the next game. Therefore, you don't make the big plays that you would otherwise, and that's how dwarves win in league. So yeah, I mean that's a fair shout. How about you, BT? With and against?
For me, with currently it's Skaven, just because I'm loving them. I also have a really soft spot for nobility. Skaven kind of easy win. Nobility, I like playing. It feels like an underdog team that you have to challenge, and I really find that rewarding. I find the team just so rewarding to play. Everything you do well, you feel like you earn.
That's bang on.
Yeah, in terms of against, probably dwarves easy answer. Yeah, what you said. But for me, probably humans, and that's only because I really underestimate them every single time. Every single time I play humans, I think like, oh yeah, it's not going to be the end of the world. And then obviously you forget they got movement 8 players, and then their throw is amazing, and like
and
even though they've got like 4 blitzers, and yeah, you're just like, oh yeah, okay, actually you can just completely rinse me if I misplay at all. So yeah, that might be one of my least favorite ones to play. It's not again, it's weird to say least favorite to play against. It's more just ones where I have.
What's the biggest challenge? What's
challenge?
The biggest,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously I love Skaven, but I am loving Black Orcs at the moment. Similar to what you said about nobility, Ben. They're tier 2. They're a challenge. It's really satisfying when you get your engine going. I think Black Orcs and nobility are both a little bit of engine buildings. So if your first 3 turns go okay and you start building the engine, you're away, and it's like boom, I score 1 Dominion. And against, it depends on league and tournament. To me, my nemesis team is Lizardmen. And that's probably because I still have PTSD from losing in the league final with my Skaven against Lewis. So
yeah, that's rough.
But it's Skaven against Lizards. It's a bad matchup.
Just after 4 hours,
yeah. I mean, they outbash you and they can basically keep up dash. So yeah, Lizards is a tough one. That's a great question. Really good one there.
Really good.
General Chi, what's your Bonehead highlight? Bonehead Championships, man, those games are absolute highlight of my week on a Sunday afternoon doing the wash it up. What should we do more of? Games of Blood Bowl. I love actually watching you guys play tabletop, including feeling really bad for BT all of the time. Maybe a big
it
roll.
Doesn't stop.
I tell you what, games on camera. We kind of talked a little bit about this in the break, didn't we? I've been watching a lot of War Games Live, who streams 40k tournaments every weekend. Really lovely guy. Joe helped me choose a new set of cameras and stuff. And one of the comments he always kind of opens the stream is basically saying, like, guys in chat, yeah, I know you know things, but it's very different playing under pressure or playing on stream or just playing a game that's competitive than it is chilling out, taking your time watching it, like armchair quarterbacking. And I think we make bad plays in the championship all the time. Like we don't do it on purpose. And then I've actually had the unique experience recently of filming a couple of my games at club. just to try out camera angles and stuff like that. And watching some of it back, I'm like, that was stupid. Should have gone 2 squares to the right and tagged that guy. I've left that. And actually, when you're in a game, there is definitely an element of tunnel vision. And when you are playing to the camera, like you said, Ben, you have to spend extra mental energy focusing on, not double suplexing the table, or am I speaking loud enough? Am I talking about what I'm doing? Like, is this in shot, Ben? Like, am I okay? Like, and it is a little bit of a pressured environment. Like, I do my best to make it as easy as possible, and then the dice go off camera and these things happen. It's not a big deal. But when you're playing a game, and all you're focusing on playing the game, you do get more mental capacity. When you're playing the game and doing other stuff at the same time, whether it's just chatting, whether it's having a beer, whether it is recording the game, it's you lose those percentage points, and also because they're not your teams in the championship, and I think this is a really huge thing, is you don't play to protect for the next game, because I'll take that dodge. If he dies, he dies.
Someone else's problem.
Yeah, exactly. Trips is playing them next week. Good luck. And actually, it's a real factor. Like tournaments, you make different plays than league. If you play in a league where you're handing the reins over to somebody else, you make even better, worse plays, I think.
Yeah.
It does go on, maybe a big rolling infinite league or something. There's a real gap in the market for well set up coverage of games. If Tabletop Titans or Tabletop Tactics can get 40k looking slick as, with how huge 40k boards can be, surely Blood Bowl can be done even better, right? Really looking forward to the coverage from the upcoming tournaments. Hey, we're going to give it a go. We're going to do absolutely what we can. Games look better with terrain. Blood Bowl is always going to look like a board game until we make a board, which we probably need to do. The Mini Wargaming guys did a Blood Bowl stream, and they've got an actual Blood Bowl board, and it looked really good, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Yeah. It would be good to do. It might make filming a little bit harder. We'll have to work that out. Maybe only have it from one angle or something. But
yeah, there's always trade-offs. Super minor point, Ben edits his audio fades super tight into splash screens. Oh, yeah, I do. It's because I edit on my phone while watching TV or having dinner or something. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I've stopped talking. Yeah, I've stopped. So yes. And sometimes I leave a nice swear in. And I'm going to drop an anecdote now. So I'm piloting this project at work. It's the classic pick up, do version 2 kind of thing. And I figured that actually the best way I could catch my boss's boss up was by doing a video, right? So I did basically a Blood Bowl video, but with a Waitrose background.
Hey everybody, welcome to the
basically right. Hey, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about this. I'm going to break it down into these 3 areas, and we're going to go through it like this. So I did it. I edited the video. I sent it to my boss. I even put in there like, hey, I know you're going to be watching this Thursday evening, the day before our meeting. Make sure you sign off earlier than you do. I sent it to him on a Wednesday. Dude did watch it on a Thursday evening. He thought that was hilarious, but not as hilarious as the massive F-bomb I left in the middle of it.
Amazing.
So his message to my boss was, absolutely love this. This is the best breakdown I've ever seen of this project. I personally loved the bit where Ben said, oh, for F's sake, Ben, get it effing right.
Amazing.
And I was like, yeah, brilliant. I did that on a couple of Blood Bowl videos, and the comments are always so good. My favorite one was like, it's like when your dad gets really angry. I was like,
I'm sorry.
Because we try so hard to make it family friendly because we want everyone to have access to it. But man, when I get the intro wrong 6 times in a row, it can be effing frustrating. But yeah, no, that was a unique experience. I was really pleased with the editing job I did on it, but just clearly hadn't caught the hand in front of the camera moment. I have fixed that actually. I've got this little.
Oh yeah, I saw it the other day. It's fantastic.
Yeah, big screen that says cut on it so that I can not make those mistakes. But yeah, brilliant one. I'd love some random play situations and some possible decision breakdowns, like chess situations to solve. BT, I saw this one.
Oh
and
yeah,
thought
we
of
mentioned
you.
that earlier, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would actually be really fun. I think the hardest part will be coming up with them.
Well,
at least when I was teaching it was more just like random things you might see.
We can go through the championship games or the 7 Super Series games.
Oh, true, yeah.
And pick a situation and be like, what would you do in this situation here?
I could have done better here. Maybe like, games which, were really tight or something like that, where someone lost when they maybe could have won. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Like I watch quite a lot of like card game streamers, and something that's always really interesting with that, especially like Hearthstone, is you can go on like what's called like HS replay, and you can kind of see your game back to back, and some of them will go back and just be like, what would I have different there? What would I have done differently there? Like, did I have lethal stuff like that? Yeah, so that could actually be really fun.
Yes, that is
retrospectives on the games.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful doing the editing for these games because I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, why did I do that? Or I was like, I know what comes up next. I'm like, I know I shouldn't have done that. That was a greed play, Ben. Why did you greed play? And I was like, because yeah, and it's really interesting. So I'm super looking forward to the live stream at the weekend, because actually that's going to create a lot of situations that we can talk through with chat live, which is going to be pretty cool too. You know what? There's some really lovely comments on there and some brilliant ideas, and I appreciate everybody pitching in. And I guess we should just quickly do a couple of things to wrap up, guys, which is, have you got any highlights that we've not talked about that you think would be cool to talk about?
Actually, one highlight was, for me at least, was the paint-a-thon we did. So when the ability came out, the 24-hour live stream.
Well, you say we, wasn't that not just you? Like,
that was on the Bonehead Podcast channel.
Yeah, you're a madman when it comes to painting, though. It's
Yeah, I was going to say it was definitely a weird thing.
I remember. Absolutely. Yeah, that was awesome.
When ability came out, and I like really wasted a lot of time and didn't get it done. But it was
I saw that Hellstorm did that the other week. I think I sent
you.
I think I sent you a screenshot.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I was like, this is a Ben thing to do.
It's really good fun though, and that was a really good highlight because having people in chat for that was awesome because people were like posting what they were working on, and so like you could be there when they were starting on it, and then by like 6 hours later, still there, and they're just like just finished it, and that I really enjoyed that. I had such a good time, and I really really want to do it again. Yeah, we will do it again. Just don't know when.
No, we don't know when, but I'm well up for that. Up for that. This is it, because TIFF works every other weekend at the moment, so every other weekend, sign me up, right?
What, for a 24-hour stream? I'm not doing that every other weekend.
How about you, Milt? I think we've covered a load of good stuff, but there's anything there that you think we overlooked?
No, I can't think of anything in particular. I think we've done so much good stuff over the years, and I guess actually really what I want to say was a big thank you to yourself and to Ben, because and from the community as well, because you guys you do a lot, and I know you put a lot of effort into this, and what we were saying earlier about kind of creating that community and keeping the game going and everything, for us that's been from you, and it's been great.
Thanks, dude. Well, I mean, I'm going to bounce that straight back to all of you guys, like BT, Trips, yourself, Milton, Ian, Lewis, everybody who just jumps in. Like, gameplay videos are great, but you have to have somebody free at the same time as you to be able to film it, and like, it's just so hard, and I really appreciate all the time you guys give up. Hopefully it's fun. I know it's not always fun. Sometimes it can be a bit of a chore, but most of the time it's really good, I think, just to have a chat.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun.
No, of course.
That's really good. I know I have anxiety about that, so I feel like I'm dragging you guys into doing stuff all the time.
No way. Happy to be here doing it.
It's just such a cool thing. Like, and the community is so good. Like, we've got such a great bunch of coaches, and Blood Bowl, I think, is just one of the strongest communities out there. There's not a lot of negativity. Not really.
Sure, yeah. I haven't even got rules on this Discord yet, and I haven't had to.
Let's face it. The only
I
thing
might
you
be
can be
tempting
salty
fate with that one, but yeah.
In Blood Bowl, the only thing you can be salty about is your own dice, right? Like,
You can sometimes be salty at their dice as well.
Well, yeah. But it's always the dice.
It is the dice. It's not the die. Like, the worst thing your opponent can do to you is make the most optimal play. And that's, I think, the brilliant thing here is that it's a case of it's hard to be vindictive in Blood Bowl. Because if you're running a gutter runner, if you've named a player, if a goblin's got a level up, he's got a target, and you do the same thing to them. So I don't hold any grudges about anybody trying to kill Grop Brady, because you know what? He's got a name. He's got a target on himself. It's just how Blood Bowl goes. I want to be you want to be the guy to kill Ben's super gutter runner. Like I had that for years, but want to be the guy to be like, boom, I killed Grop Brady. I killed him, and it's just like, it's a thing, and that part is like the unnecessary violence and narrative of Blood Bowl. But it's like,
hey, if we play each other in the playoffs and you kill my gutter runner, I will be killing Grop Brady. It's going to be a trade.
I guarantee people, Grop Brady's not going to make it. First of all, he's got frenzy and his strength too, and secondly, he's named after Brady, who everybody loves and hates at the same time. And, it's like, man, what a greatest player of all time, but I did kill him, is basically, I think, Grop Brady's title.
But he's not dead yet.
No, he's not.
The real Brady. Yeah, so he hasn't, so you never know.
And the last thing to talk about, guys, before we wrap up is what thing would you want to do next? What other thing? And it doesn't actually have to be Blood Bowl, but it has to be to do with the channel or content or something like this. If it is Blood Bowl, obviously it will please our audience, but if it's not Blood Bowl, that's absolutely fine. Like, what else? What would you like to explore or do?
I just love us to just find our real comfort zone for filming and just film everything. Like, I just want us to be able to just be like, I'm in the mood to play that. Well, turn the cameras on. That's good, and just do it. And I'd love that. And I think that's we're definitely getting close to that now.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's just more like reach that filming comfort zone where whatever it is, we can just push the button and do it.
You guys encouraging and coaching me to check the audio and get the audio dialed in a bit better. I mean, it's dialed in. Whether I've actually checked that it's on or not is a different matter. But actually, like, that's a really good shout, and that's one massive step. I feel like our equipment is in a much better place. But every time we do a different series, it is always a learning experience. And we've done this kind of higgledy-piggledy. We've done a couple of series of 7s, and I feel like we got them in a really good place. Then we moved over to 11s, which was very different. Like, it's the same, but it is also very different because it is bigger and longer and there's more going on. And then we went into Dungeon Bowl, which from a filming and game point, again, was really very different. And then we came back to 7s, and it was different. It was weird because it's been a while since we filmed point of view camera. And we filmed our first 5 games now, which is awesome, but by the time we've got to the 4 and 5, I feel like we kind of got ourselves back in a place where actually 1, 2, 3, the gameplay is brilliant, my camera work is going to be a little bit shoddy, and it's like a case of it's a shame, but actually we were constantly learning, and we're about to go and do a completely different camera set with a live stream, and it's a completely different format. So this is kind of it brings in everything. Like what you're saying, Ben, is absolutely bang on. We are getting closer to having that formula, and we're getting closer to having the equipment to make it easier. But this is why I dream of the studio, is because actually every time we have to set up that overhead rig, it's in a different spot and it's slightly twisted, and the main light in the dining room area gets a different glare based on and I can't write on the carpet because that will upset everybody. So it's so it's an interesting one. But we will absolutely get there. How about you, Milton? What other things do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've covered quite a lot of things. I think I agree with what Ben said, and obviously we've talked about things like the studio and all the other kind of bits and pieces. I guess from a purely selfish perspective, due to my current location, I'd love us to get more involved with Fumble or BB3 when that comes out. As we kind of talked about earlier, kind of getting the wider Bonehead podcast community involved in that. That would be quite cool.
BB3 is going to be so good.
Dude.
I'm going to get well into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm all prepared for it now.
Oh, yes.
The old Steam Deck.
You've got your Steam Deck.
Perfect for BB3.
I've got my Alienware. Like we're going to be. I'm diving straight into BB3 because I did that one mini series with Pact, and it was awesome fun.
Oh yeah.
Like the bugs were bad, but it was awesome fun. And I just cannot wait to absolutely binge gameplay with that. I mean, it'd be so sweet to be able to have a 12-game season for every team. Like, so someone was like, "Oh, I kind of fancy playing Renegades. Here's the first 12 games. Learn from my mistakes," you know? And that's just to a quick. But actually, Milton, we really need to get going on some kind of online tournament or Fumble League because it's there, and you know, it's just such a cool idea. And then Fumble Fridays, just Friday night Fumble.
Yeah, I kind of feel like once we got the tournaments, these tournaments kind of under the belt, we can start taking a look at that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's excellent. And for me, I just love doing this. And it's just a lot of fun. It gives me like a real buzz and a real sense of exploring and achieving. And I personally I've got to a reasonable balance now where I'm critical, but also accepting that nothing can be perfect. Watching the NFL has changed my life the last few years. I'm not even being hyperbolic. My management style, my understanding of the world, you know, I look at these people who are pro athletes and they are the top teams and they make mistakes. And, you know, a team can win the Super Bowl one year but can still lose 4 games. And it's like, well, even the Super Bowl winning team lost games. They didn't win every game. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to go 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 because, you know, you can't get it. And we've kind of had this chat in the mini break where there is a universal law that a natural one always fails. And that's a Blood Bowl thing, but it's also a real world thing. And actually, we put a lot of work and a lot of effort into getting things right, and sometimes it doesn't go right. And actually, we do our best. And I've come to terms with that a little bit more. And you guys have helped that. The community's been amazing at that. Doesn't mean I don't get really upset, really stressed and depressed about missing stuff, or like, you know, if I miss an order or I miss someone's podcast loot or something, it kills me inside, because like I'm like, well, I've let this person down, and it's like, well, this is something I've got better at with processing and organization and everything like that, so that I've minimized that. But it's, you know, when it comes to that, when it comes to editing, when it comes to dropping F-bombs in videos and not editing them out and stuff like that, I'm a lot more comfortable that actually 8 out of 10 is good. Like it's not a law of diminishing returns. And I really want to nail this tournament stream stuff because I love Blood Bowl and I love Magic the Gathering and I love watching events.
Sign up those new Commander decks for 40k.
Dude,
maybe that's got to happen.
They are cool, man.
Yeah, we could play that. There you go.
Well, there's going to be a Blood Bowl one, so that's...
Yeah, that's true. Was that going to be Commander as well?
Yeah, I think
awesome.
So.
Love it.
Or something like that. So anyway, we'll have to do that. But when I was by the pool in Italy and you guys were running that tournament, I just felt dumb as hell that I couldn't log on and check the standings, that I couldn't catch up with what was going on. And like, not necessarily because it's this age of technology, because actually it's a ton of work and there's a massive barrier there, but because of how important Blood Bowl is and how special it is to so many people and how big the events are. Like, they're not hundreds of players like 40Ks. There's only like 4 tournaments in the year that are over like 100 players, right? But actually there's no law that stops that. And I think the bigger the player base gets, the bigger the events get, the more premium they feel. I think it's just going to continue growing, because 40k, where you have to spend 40k to get into it, or Blood Bowl, where you have to spend 40 quid to get into it, what are you going to get out of it? A day of gaming, get a day of being rewarded for making good decisions and taking good risks, and a good laugh out of it. And you might be streamed and it's important and people are checking in on it. Well, actually, I think it's a much better marketable product than 40k is. It just needs more giants.
Yeah, that's true. Giant team win.
We got giants in our tournaments, except for 7s, which makes me sad. But Maybe we'll have to flex that
Kind
one
of
day.
1v1, isn't it? Then
Giant and snotlings and sevens. I think it'd be great.
yeah.
Yeah, with swarming, that'd be all right.
Here we go.
Anyway, that's one for the future. But guys, I just want to say a massive thank you for both of you for coming on, and Trips for helping out, and for everybody else who helps with the videos, the content, the comments, the Patreons, everybody for supporting the show. We are going to continue doing as much as we can, and probably a little bit more, unless the guys hold me back a bit. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I think we'll wrap up now, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. 100 episodes down.
Dude, crazy. And we'll be back
Next
soon
100.
with Amazons, hopefully.
Maybe.
Episode 107.
Amazons, Curse City. Thank you, Games Workshop. Anyway, we're going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking.